Ladies and gentlemen, your hosts, Michael Wilkes, Angel Ortiz, Dr. Chad, and Sam La Cavera. Go check out beardedbrowns.com and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
What is up, everybody? What is up on this wonderful Tuesday night? We're getting more sunlight outside because of the time change, which is a good thing for us cold northerners that over here on the East Coast that just get nothing but coldness and dreary, depressing weather. We finally get some sun to lighten up our day at 7 o'clock, and it feels like we can do more, but it's just all because of friggin' the time change. For some reason, we just have to continue living this way. We are here, Chad, just me and you. Today, we're going to talk about some Brown free agency, some O-line. We're going to talk about Wyatt Teller signing a deal, Jerome Ford. I read a report that Njoku visited a place in the division. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some quarterback stuff. Also, we're going to do a live mock 3-rounder. What's up, KP Young? We're going to do a live mock, a 3-round live mock. We want you guys to participate with us. We're going to have it on the screen like we did last week. I'm excited because y'all did this last week when I wasn't on the show, and I had no clue until you showed me during our pre-talk here, before the show, and I'm like, sweet, I didn't know we can do this. I love technology. So we're going to go.
Well, now that we know how to put it on the screen for the viewers to see, I'm even more excited about it because last time we just had to read it all out. And people chipped in, like the commenters chipped in on like not only what they thought of the picks, but like who they would want in that scenario. And I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. But did you know, Chad, today is St. Patrick's Day? Obviously your shirt. He's got his in his shirt.
This is for the annual Ocean Beach St. Patty's Day cottage crawl that I started with some friends back in the late 2010s. Like we did it for several years. And then I think in 2021 was the first time we didn't do it for COVID, and a lot of people just couldn't do it, or we're getting tested all the time at work. I have a lot of friends that are nurses and in healthcare. So like they can't risk getting it because they test you and you're out of work. And long story short, that we thought we'd go right back to it, but then everybody moved out of OB and it killed it. But for several years, we did this really fun cottage crawl. Everyone went to each other's house in the OB area, and each house like had a signature drink. Maybe it was just beers, Guinness or Smittix, or maybe it was Irish car bombs. I always did Irish coffee. Somebody would make some green leprechaun punch or something. But yeah, it was really a lot of fun. This is one of our shirts.
Nice. But today on St. Patty's Day, a meteor hit Ohio. It hit about 10 minutes from where I live, believe it or not. I was in Erie, PA all day for work, so I didn't hear it, but everyone around, they said they heard a big boom, and some people felt they shook, like their house shook.
I would imagine, yeah.
And then like an hour later, 20, 30 minutes later, and there's videos on Facebook, a meteor hitting in actually Brook Park, Ohio, I believe. Actually probably by the Brown Stadium. But so that was a fun thing today.
Could it have landed on the Brown site and helped to help excavate all that?
Free by Mother Nature itself. Nonetheless, if the world's going to come to an end, please let us watch the Browns win a Super Bowl at least one time.
Before
we go off into the sunset.
That is the luck of the Ohio-ish.
Brian, Andrew, look, your hat's backwards. It's meant to be backwards. A lot of people ask that question. Yes, it's meant to be backwards. I don't know why the Browns do it this way. They just thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. So it was fun. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Please like, comment, and share. First bit of news. KP, someone said snow falling and meteor hit Cleveland Browns winning the Super Bowl. Yep, that's the order. Snow, always never ending snow. Dude, we had 70 degrees 2 days ago.
So
And
that's the
now,
crazier thing. So
yeah,
it's March in Ohio and it's 70 degrees, a meteor hit. That actually sounds like the amount of events that could lead to a Super Bowl, like all this
exactly.
like very slim chance events.
It's very slim. We're gonna get into some stuff right now. First thing we're gonna hit up first is the question: did free agency actually fix our offensive line, or did it just lower the panic level because we started with 1.5, depending
Nobody
on
almost. Yeah. There's a
two,
couple questionable guys on the roster before a week ago.
yeah, and now all of a sudden we got pretty much every position full besides left tackle. And everybody seems to be okay. Everyone's like, all right, yeah, we're good. Who's going to play quarterback? Uh,
Yeah.
so
Well,
Chad, do you think you posted some stuff on X and I've been watching and you've been down like people are thinking you're being a little negative, but what
yeah.
is your take on it?
So here's yeah, and I was trying to balance this last week on the show because I think they overpaid for some guys in free agency, which I'm surprised they did. I didn't think this was going to be an overpay kind of year. They didn't pick up a ton of free agents, but like they paid three fairly decent contracts for three linemen and linemen who are in contracts that were multi-year. I kind of thought this would be some 1 year cheap fix it deals or like one big deal and maybe that would be it. So like I don't love the high paid free agency, especially to like build a portion of the team like the line, but they have some variability. They didn't pay an amount that like in limits them from like plugging in future guys or moving guys around. But I just kind of like was trying to balance the fact that I think the guys they picked are necessary additions, balanced with the idea that I think when we look at the line and I'm thinking of like sure, Jed Wills was kind of a mess, but, like, on the left tackle, I'm not sure we have anybody that plays left tackle better than him right now, and then I think of this line in the Stefanski era when healthy was Wills, Petonio, Pocic, Teller, Conklin. I don't know if I can name one guy they brought in who I think, well, he's better than the guy I just named. Like, there's not somebody at left tackle right now yet better than Wills. Nobody is going to be better than Batonio at left tackle or left guard right
Left
now.
guard, yeah.
I don't think the center we brought in is, I would think, is better than Pocic was here. I don't think our right tackle is better than Teller, and I mean our right guard, and I don't think our right tackle is better than Conklin was. The problem was all the Browns guys were unhealthy, so, like, they brought in guys to replenish that line now that all those other guys are gone, but I guess my balance is they needed to bring them in. Now they have most of the line built and they don't need to panic in the draft. That's good, but the bad is what I just said. I think every one of those guys is a lesser player than the guy who's just walked out of the building and it so, like but the response I was getting was like, "The Browns line is fixed, the line's gonna be great now." And I'm like, "Well, if the line wasn't great in 2024 and 2025, I'm not sure these guys who I think are not as good make them great now." It just makes them, like, complete.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get your take on it since you weren't on the show. Again, they needed to do it. They brought in guys. I don't hate anybody they brought in. I would have paid a little bit less for one or two of the guys, but I don't dislike any of them. I just, on paper, Batonio, Pocic, Cheller, Conklin are multi-year Pro Bowl and All-Pro players year after several years, through. And now I'm like, I look at these guys like none of them are ever going to hit that level, I don't think. I think the best guy we brought in is probably the left guard replacement, and I
Yeah.
don't think he is ever gonna get anywhere near what Petonio was. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, they got a collective of I hate to use the word misfits, but it's a collective of people who are going to be good, not great. And unfortunately, they came upon the need for offensive linemen when there was a need for offensive linemen across the league. And then there was a
Yeah.
pay raise to offensive linemen around the league. So it was an awful lot of bad timing to need it. And this is why AB is getting a lot of hate for it, because he should have been building that over time as opposed to 1 year. So
Yeah. Just
they
to
owe,
throw in a quick side note, I forget who said it. I forget who said it. It was a Browns beat reporter, though. It wasn't like just somebody random. Basically said, um, by picking the wrong guy in Zach Zinter, by Zach Zinter
yep,
not working out to be Joel Bitonio's event or Wyatt Teller's eventual plug and play replacement, cost them about $20 million
yeah.
because they had to pay somebody to come in and do that, because the one person they actually did pick in the draft, and there's really two, because they also picked Harris and Whippler, but because those picks don't slot right in behind the guys as the heir apparent, they had to pay a center and pay a guard when really they should have, if they had picked better prospects at that spot or those guys had developed, they wouldn't have had to spend that money. So just to
Yeah,
like add on to your like thought process of
yeah.
like,
Yeah, so AB did best what he could do with the tools that he had available to him. Now, with that being said, my hope is that 20 years of Warhop and 20 plus years of experience, that he can tap into some ability to tap into these guys and say, I'm going to get the best I can out of you guys. And if you're better than what we have been the last 2 years, and if you look at what the benefit of everyone on there besides one, there's versatility in the line. They could play left guard, they could play right guard, they could play. It seemed like they could play across the line. So it seems like AB went in
yeah,
there with the mindset of, we've been hurt by injuries the last 2 years. So if this guy's going to go down, we're going to slide this guy over because he's played
yeah,
right tackle 200 times. So it seems like the versatility meant more to them going into this year, and that's why they paid a little bit more. What someone said in the chat, Browns tax, because you're coming here for the Browns,
yeah.
you got to get paid a little more. So
And
I
free
agree.
agency has its own tax to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Just becoming a free agent is usually a pay grade if you're a desirable player. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a Browns tax where it's like you're coming to a place that everybody doesn't want to go to play. They don't look like they're going to be very good. At least there's no reason to expect they're going to be very good.
Yeah, and the offensive line got a bump in pay. Like Walker, right? Rashid, he thought he was going to get a lot more money than he did, and no one bid on it. And he ended up
Mhm.
paying the price. Now he's signed a
That's
1 year
true.
deal to Carolina. The only person that really got paid was Linderbaum, and he got overpaid by the
Yeah,
Raiders
huge
because
huge
obviously, yeah,
contract.
huge contract. So at the same time, we're going to sit there and say AB overpaid for these backups, but he didn't super overpay to where
Yeah.
he
I
was
think on the plus
he had
side,
to, you know?
where I'm positive is I don't think these are backups. I think they could end up backups if somebody outplays them, and that would be
Yeah,
great. But like
and
every
they'll be
person
good
has good
backups.
starting experience,
Yeah,
right? Every person has good starting experience. There's no reason to think right now that there's questions on who would play left tackle. But if you drafted no linemen, which nobody thinks is going to happen, and you made no more trades, now they got Jones and KT Levinston battling to see who can be the left tackle. The other one will become the swing tackle. And then they have a right tackle, right guard, center, left guard ready to go with a backup center and a backup guard already in place. So you'd have a backup tackle, guard, center. So like the line is ready. And the only thing they really could do is draft guys who can either slot in and force somebody out, or they're ready to go. So that's the positive part. I thought people were treating it like huge upgrades, and I'm like, "Guys, you're not gonna get a huge upgrade over Batonio and Teller." They were
maybe
incredible.
they thought of upgrades from how they played last year because of age and
Yeah.
injury, sure.
I
But
don't
when
even know if
you
our left guard is upgrade over how he played last year, but they're
in
right. With all the injuries, the
yeah.
line should look better this year than it did last year and the year before with just an incredible amount of injuries. And if that's what people mean, then they're probably right.
I
I
don't
just thought,
that's what I mean. I don't know if they thought about it that way. I thought of like, well, with the
yeah,
injuries and the versatility that they have in each person that they brought in, there's a availability
okay.
to plug in anyone
I would
there.
buy that.
Yeah. That's the positive side, but I agree overall. Like I felt like, and also too, looking into this draft, like someone just said in the chat, I can't see right now. I don't know. A lot of people are saying Freeling at 6. Like you start looking at tape and start listening to some experts. The love for him are kind of coming down after his Raz performance over there, the combine. So it's
I
like
think the big thing is, like, if you the big thing for me on Freeling, and we'll get to it later when we get to the mock draft stuff, it's a very popular pick to the Brown, but that's what mocks do. They look at the Browns, they say, "What's
he
the biggest
needs
need? Left
yeah,
tackle. Who's our number 1 left tackle? Freeland.
him.
Freeland to the Browns." But that's not how drafting really works, and it doesn't mean the Browns don't look at him and go, "Man,
It would be
I
nice.
see it with a year of development, this guy
Yeah.
is a Pro Bowl level left tackle." Well, you have enough pieces now that you don't have to thrust him in day 1, and they could, if they really believe that, and they're like, "We're not picking for just 2026. We're picking for the next 10 years." It could be a pick they make, but the mock draft world is they need a left tackle. My number 1 left tackle is this guy. Doesn't matter if he's 18th on the board. He's the number 1 left tackle. Left tackle is what they need. And guys that do mock drafts admit that's how they usually do them. They look at the need positions, they look at their own big board, and they say, like, which person fits their need, who's the highest guy on my board to fit their needs. And right now, the Browns, after that free agency, have set them up where they have one major need, and it's left tackle.
Yeah.
Everything else is upgrade needs. Like, we could get better at this position, but it's the only position where if I looked at the roster right now, I can't put somebody on the depth chart now definitively that I would think that they're gonna be the starter. So,
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get into the mock drafts, but it would be
mhm.
interesting to see. I do like KP's comment. He says, I think Zinter could be a dark horse. Takes a while to recover from a broken leg. Now, under Wart Hop, he can excel. That's my hope, right? So, War Hop has a big job, and I think
I will
people are
admit our
underselling him.
last 2 years of terrible line coaches
Yeah,
showed, and I don't
yeah,
think last year's was as bad as the year before, but I think 2024 and 2025, the line coaches just didn't get it done, and I think that's why they brought in a big veteran, because they brought in 2 younger
yes.
guys the last 2 cycles.
It did not work.
One was
That's
so
a
bad
counter.
that
Vrabel ended up taking his job.
Vrabel had to take over the job, yeah, by the end of the year, which is
Yeah.
a joke for, like, a consultant, and then, he
The
didn't
other
get fired, but it became very public from the inside reports, like, "Hey, Vrabel's doing this job at practice. He's the line coach now, and this other guy's just, like, helping." And
Yep.
then last year, they brought in a line coach. I was hoping,
You
because of where
yeah,
he came from,
he
that he'd
looked
be
good.
pretty
He looked
good,
like he could be a
but
rough guy. He
and
did.
again, really rough shuffle. I think the Browns had
Yeah.
more different line combinations than any other
Yeah, it
team,
was
so
like
that's a very hard job
10,
in your
10,
first
11. Yeah.
year, but it does make a good reason why you bring in,
And he
Warhop.
was their
But
he was their first hire after Munkin. Munkin
yeah,
fired
he had a
him
lot of
first.
upside. I
Yeah.
liked the idea.
Yeah, he was like, "We're gonna go after a guy that's proven, that has
Uh-huh.
experience to get this together because 'cause we're gonna basically start over." And
And
he
by the
has a
way, very important, because we are brushing over the idea that our offensive line, depending on who plays left tackle, could have between 4 and 5 brand new day 1
yes,
starters. Not only that are day 1 starters for the Browns, but have never played with each other or on this
exactly.
roster. And so
Yep.
they're having a new offense. They're learning each other. They're learning the culture of Cleveland. Like, do not expect this year, everyone. And I'm saying it now, and we're going to talk about it again in October. Do not expect a good September out of this line. It
It
takes
brings yep, it
it
brings
takes
the
them playing together, and we're not going to see it.
yes,
And in week 3,
100%.
people are gonna be freaking out, and they're like, "All these linemen suck."
These
And I'm just
bums.
telling you right now,
AB
September
overpaid
is
for
gonna
these
be
bums.
terrible. October is gonna be where where they, around 6 games is where these guys are gonna
Yep.
really start to figure each other out. If they're better ahead of that, like, bravo. But,
Yeah,
like,
and
do not judge them till after
yep,
October, because September is this is a mess. Bringing in all new guys. Bringing in 1 or 2 new linemen to, like, a set roster is tricky. Bringing in 5 when they all have to get used to the new terminology, line
and
calls.
maybe a
What does this guy
rookie
next to me like to
left
do?
tackle.
Yeah, so
Add that to it.
guys, I'm just
Warhop
telling
has
you.
the toughest job right now, and I'm telling you that
Yeah,
this this mini camp, this OTAs, mini camp, all that stuff is going to be different. They has to be different. They cannot be resting guys. No one can be sitting there drinking water or lattes on the sidelines. They're going to have these guys all play together. No one's taking breaks. No one's taking days off at the offensive line. You need to gel. You
And
need
you know what?
unity.
A lot of guys, I was okay with that in the past. Like, I'm like, Petonio does not need to go to practice every day. Joe Thomas didn't do practice every day. But now we've got the only guy that's older is our right tackle. And I don't think he's been overworked. I don't think he's like a guy who's like, oh, I need a ton of days off because I have health issues. Like, he should be good. These guys haven't missed a lot of time other than our center who broke his leg. And there is no like getting around that
Right.
injury. But it's not like he's got chronic knee problems. So
I was
it is a
gonna
different
bring you
year.
on as a guest. I was
Oh,
waiting till you was done. I was
how
like,
did you make it home by
welcome to the
now?
show. Our guest, Mike from the Bearded Browns podcast.
Yeah,
You
man.
ruined my intro, man.
Not only was
Mike's
there
here.
a boom around Cleveland, but apparently the meteors are hitting trucks into ditches today.
We
right at the
did
last
hit
minute.
that.
Mike
But
is in the building. Welcome, Mike.
Mike,
We're
we're just
talking
closing
about
up the line talk.
Oh, my
Yes.
favorite. My favorite.
Yeah, we're
Missed it.
talking
Missed
the
it.
difficulty job Warhop is going to have trying to get these guys gelled together. And you did bring up, Chad, that it's going to be hard for these guys. And you're talking about the 4 they got. You may, depending on where they'll probably have to get a rookie left tackle, whether it's number 6 or in the second round. It's going to be a rookie left tackle that he's also going to have to coach up, teach, and gel everyone at the same time.
And I expect them to pick multiple linemen in this draft, but I do think because of what they did in free agency, they're not going to thrust anybody in who might need more time to like get himself to NFL level, which is good. But you're right. We can't go too much longer on the offensive line, but I think that we agree at least on the idea that like, yeah, a lot of new guys, upgrade to what we actually saw in the field last year, probably downgrade compared to what we could have seen if all of our guys were healthy.
Yeah.
When they actually were all on the field together, but a necessary evil paying these guys so that you're not stuck like we have to draft every one of these certain positions because we have no one to play. So they took themselves out of that and they overpaid, I think, for one or two of the guys, but not like to the point where they're stuck for years and they can't do anything or replace guys. Those guys will probably be starters this year because of not only their paycheck, but we don't have a very likely option to overtake them. But in a year, if we drafted somebody who was really good and outplayed them, they're movable or they are good, really, really good depth. And they're all, you're right. Your point of like, and we mentioned this last week too, Mike and Sam had brought it up. They're really versatile linemen. So if we do draft like a right tackle or a like left guard who's just incredible, these guys will shuffle into whatever the best 5 are because there's 3 guys on this roster right now who can play at least 2 line positions, if not more.
Yeah. Mike, you want to say anything to add to that?
Yeah, you guys are right. These guys are between the ages of 27 and 30, so they're not going to be key pieces for a long time either. And those are other pieces that you can pick up in a draft. Like right now, we're still on the hunt for a left tackle. Sorry, I'm still trying to catch my breath, guys.
They set themselves up to do, like, you're right. They set themselves up to do exactly that. Like now they've got a starter for this year, and now they can start doing what they should have been doing in the past if they had maybe more picks or just had picked more savvy on the line, getting guys to like fill in for a year and then eventually overtake the guy in front of them. And you don't need first rounders to do that. We made a really good point last week that at any given time when the Browns line was really good in the 2010s or really good in the 2020s, there was only one first rounder on the line. Everybody else they found through trades and later in the draft, and you can do that.
Yeah, Dan brings up a good point. Jenkins did play left tackle at a good level too when he was in Green Bay. That adds to that versatility.
Yeah, he had quite a
There's
few
a ton
snaps
of
at left tackle.
chances. Yeah, and we said they brought back Jenkins,
the
who
other
I really
Jenkins.
like. They brought back Tevin Jenkins, who I like, who has also played right tackle and right and left guard. And then they've got so they've got some really movable pieces. So and then again, what you mentioned at the beginning of the segment was these guys aren't what they used to be. So what we brought in might be better than what these guys are going forward. Petonio might just be completely retired. Wyatt Teller only got a 2-year, $16 million contract. We were paying him like between 16 and 20 million a year over these years. So he's
Yeah.
also not the same guy he was, and the NFL agrees with that. And he's coming off a couple of injuries, and he has not been at 2023, 24, 25. If you look at what we saw on in the games on film, or if you just follow PFF scores, like he was moving down. And doesn't mean he can't have another good year, but like he was headed down. He was not excelling anymore. So,
Chad, I did take your advice, and
yeah, get those electrolytes, man. You've been sick for weeks. Like your body's got to be drained. So, water, sleep, electrolytes.
Electrolytes.
and like
I get 'em.
right after the
I'm
show.
also drinking some electrolytes. Dude, I'm down
Guinness.
Chad's gonna come out today and with a
I know I've
vengeance.
been eating today either. I'm gonna be tipsy by the end of the show.
Oh
But
man.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. There's a lot of moving pieces. Maybe Joe does come back and that adds to the depth, but we'll find out. Stay tuned for more at our pages. You'll find out when the news breaks. Speaking of Browns moving on to other teams, Jerome Ford signs a 1-year deal. Could not find the contract's information other than he signs with the Washington Commanders. Good luck to you,
I
Jerome
think we can all
Ford.
agree it's not going to be for a lot.
Probably a
Right.
meal.
But it's exactly what we said
yeah.
last year when we were
Yeah.
like, everybody hates this kid, and the NFL thinks he can do a little bit of football as long as he's not the starter. And they brought him right in. He came
Yep.
in. There's a bunch of running backs that take forever to get signed. Somebody pulled him in right away and was like, "This is a great third down back. Like
Let's get him.
he can block,
Yeah,
he
I
can
didn't
catch
hate
the
him.
ball, he can't carry the load." Just Cleveland liked him less than the NFL, which also Jedrick Wills I think signed somewhere. The Bears.
Signed.
Yeah.
Bears. That's Mike's
So I'm
favorite
just
player.
saying that, like, again, he wasn't very good here. I think because of the draft capital we used, we like him less than others. Of course, he's a deep backup. And the Bears have a starting lineup. He's a backup, which is probably what he should be at this point. And like, he needs to get his life together if he's going to contribute in the NFL. He's got to get his attitude right. But
Hey, he's all about business. You know that.
Also too, there's a report out there saying that David Njoku is visiting the Ravens. David Njoku is visiting
to
the
replace
Ravens.
Isaiah Likely, most
Then we can bring Isaiah
likely.
Likely
Pretty
here,
cheap,
right?
probably cheaper. Isaiah
Isaiah Likely went to the Giants.
Giants.
Followed Harbaugh over the Giants. A player
That's
that I
right.
love, but he's my comp for Harold Fannin was him, so it would have felt pretty silly to
Similar.
bring in another Harold Fannin at a much
agree.
higher price tag. That's not how you do business. But Isaiah Likely is somebody who I've liked since before the draft, and just like he's my Xavier Watts, who was on the board at a point where I didn't think he should be there anymore, and the Browns could have picked him, and I was like, they're taking him. It's too easy of a deal. They need this position, and then they passed him, and it will those kind of moves like gnaw at me for years when there's a guy I really like and
Coulda,
he's
shoulda,
there
woulda.
for the taking, and they just decide nah, and a year or two passes, and you're like, I felt that my guys for that were Jimmy Garoppolo, and Isaiah Likely are the two examples I can think the most where like we were in a spot to get them. I was like, oh, we're definitely taking this guy. And then we said no. And like over the next couple of years, I'm like, why? Why?
James Frank. Yes, we did take Gabriel instead of Watts, but we won't talk about that. Running back situation, a review of the running back situation. Judkins injured. There's a lot of people out there. I posted something on our page about Judkins and about his injury, and a lot of people seem to be worried that he's not going to be ready.
I could tell you why.
Why?
Because everybody watched what happened to Nick Chubb, and everybody's just
PTSD.
PTSD.
Trauma triggers. You're right.
Yes.
No, he might be hard to come back from that. Like he probably won't come back at 100%. He's going to need some couple of games, but I would assume he would be ready, right, Chad? I mean,
yeah. So this is something I wanted to go over because like there's some miscommunication on it. So that was a brutal injury, and it is a very significant injury, and it's an injury worth worrying about. And I think the way I'd like to approach it is, yes, when you have an injury like this, much like we talked about 2 years ago when we had like DeJuan Jones and Jack Conklin both coming off of knee injuries the same year and surgeries, you expect them to be ready, but you do not know for sure if there's not a setup. So yes, the Browns should be thinking about making sure they have a plan in place. Same way they did for JOK being out. However, in most cases, the injury he has is not only an injury that he's going to recover close to 100% from. The rehab timetable for it, I would think, would be about 5 months without being in the building. And so you give or take a month depending on the speed of recovery and when you can get back to activity. And then I'm looking at a 3-month ramp up period. So when did he get hurt? November?
Yeah.
Am I remembering that right? So
Yep.
December, January, February, March, April is your 5 months. So he should be beginning like football activities around April to May, and then 3-month ramp up period, June, July, August. That's ramping
Right
up
on
from like
time.
your start of full football activity to go. Is that ideal? No, but like that means that he's probably not only like healed, but been practicing and doing more and more and more all the way up to the beginning of the season. So if things go well, I don't know where nothing has come out to concern. Here's what came out that I think freaked people out a couple of weeks back. They're like, he's still in a boot. And I think that freaked people out
Yeah.
because they thought he should be out of a boot by now. I don't, based on
Yeah.
like knowing the rehab for that. I would have kept him in a boot a very long time. It's a bone injury, so you need to stabilize the bone. You can take the boot off for some exercise, but like the more it's in the boot, the more you're just locking everything into place so that you can get the strongest healing possible, essentially. And so, like, I'm wondering if that's where it came from, is people started saying, like, he's still, like, walking around in a boot, so he's not okay, but, like, this is routine to
Yeah,
me.
he's not our quarterback and going to Paris and, tearing his ACL again or
Yeah, and
Achilles
by the
again.
way, he's in the boot. We might not have this issue with Deshaun Watson if he was walking around in a boot longer, but
Right.
he got out of the
True.
boot, or, like, when you
'Cause he
get out of the
needed
boot
to do that.
early,
He needed
you
the
risk a
views on
setback.
TikTok, man. He need to
Yeah.
take that
Everybody
off.
wa
I can't
everybody
wait to
wanted to
see
be out of the boot. I can just tell you from working with this population, no one wants to be in the boot. It is very uncomfortable. It's itchy. It causes rashes. It's makes your foot feel so stiff. Like, nobody wants to be in a boot. But, like, the
Stay
bigger
in the
problem
boot.
you have in rehab is people won't stay in their freaking boot. They start to feel better, so they come out of it, and then they slow down their healing.
Like,
Like,
oh, man.
Yeah,
but
what's
I
this
that's
all a
all
boot,
I can
man?
think of that's causing this panic that all of us have seen. Someone posting online like, I'm kind of worried about Judkins coming back. Like, yes, something could go wrong. He could get an infection. There could be a setback. He could be favoring that leg and he pulls something or twists his knee on the other side because he's trying to ramp up his exercise and he's favoring. He's got to work with a really good rehab staff, really good training staff. He's got to follow protocols. But, like, yeah, if something doesn't go wrong, guys, he's going to be okay, and he is your best option, and this team is expecting him to be RB1 day one. So
Are you
that's what
worried
the
to the
expectation is.
point where you're gonna have to draft Jeremiah Love if he falls to you to 6?
I'm not even worried to the point that you have to draft a quarterback in the first 4 rounds, because I think they have to know what they have in Rocket Sanders, because if anything goes wrong and he can't start day one, you need a bruising back. You need a big back on this team. The way they're setting up the line, this is going to be a line that probably plays gap scheme, probably tries to open a quick hole, and somebody's going to have to make one cut and burst that hole. Timing is going to be not as important maybe as a wide zone scheme, but like timing is going to be important. And Dylan Sampson is not that guy. But the fact that they didn't reach to pull in one of these many free agent running backs, and especially if they don't draft an early running back, like, will tell you, like, they're not worried about him. And by the way, Jeremiah Love is incredible.
Would
I
be
just listened to a podcast.
Jeremiah
I listen
Love
to a
would be
lot of draft
tempting.
podcasts. Somebody
Uh-huh.
basically said the only running back they've had over Jeremiah Love in the last 5 years was Bijan Robinson. He's been behind Gibbs. He was behind Genty. I forget who the other one was. Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, who, by the way, if you happen to catch the Super Bowl, was the MVP and friggin' phenomenal. But he's saying that the only person he think is more special than Love is Bijan. And I know we're not talking about him in Cleveland. And if we hadn't drafted Judkins, I know this
We
doesn't
would
seem
be
like a first
talking about
round
him.
running back team.
Yep.
We'd be talking about that kid because he's going to be there. and he's going to be
I mean, he'd be the best player available at 6, man.
If it was a
It'd be hard
position of need
it'd
and
be
it was a
hard to
more
do.
higher valued position, and obviously the Browns do value this position highly, by the way. We act like, oh, they're analytics based and they don't care about running back because of analytics. They drafted a running back the
In the top
beginning of the second
yeah,
round, and they've back when they drafted
um,
Nick Chubb at the beginning of the second round too. Like this organization is not averse to taking a running back pretty high,
I
but
agree.
they kind of bought themselves out of the Jeremiah sweepstakes. You almost have to hope he's so special that somebody's like, I'm trading up. I'll give the Browns a second round pick to go up a few spots and get him. He is one of the like 3 guys who you might get a trade up for,
I
because
agree.
after
Uh,
him, there's not somebody special like that in this draft.
I wasn't really technically, I guess, skeptical about him coming back at all until today when I heard it on the radio. I'm just like, why are you guys doing this? Is it because it's the off season and it's
Yeah.
talk?
Angel said he heard it also. Angel said he's seen some posts
Well,
that people are
yeah.
like,
It's like
maybe
with his
he's
leg
not
injury,
ready.
do you think we should draft
And again,
no, someone posted is a late round pick, but it's a running back from Clemson, I believe.
yeah.
And he can also return punts. And I thought,
I'm
oh,
not
that's lovely
opposed to
with
drafting a running back if you think he's better than Rocket Sanders, which, by the way, this coaching staff has
it.
no attachment to Rocket Sanders.
But
The
oh
only
yeah,
thing I
because
know
it's a
about Rocket,
different regime. You're right.
totally different regime. It's the same Andrew Berry, but however they're going to run the ball, they built a very different line than what just left. We had a line that was like very agile, could pull all over the place when they were in their prime. We ran that wide scheme because of how great these guys could move laterally. Now we have a very versatile line, but it feels like a different line, more of a straight up blocking line, and we'll see why they did that. But I think Judkins can do that as well. But again, unless something goes wrong, everyone, Judkins should be fine day 1.
Yep.
Did you see what did you guys see what the Cleveland Browns posted? Zion walked in and went right over to Judkins and he's like, man, I can't wait to block for you. And he's like, yeah, man, it's going to be going down this year. And I'm like,
Judkins impressed a
That's
lot of
when
people last
Junkin
year.
threw off his boot and was like, let's do it now.
I said there was a big debate between Judkins and
Henderson.
Yeah, between Judkins and Henderson. And I watched Henderson play several games obviously a ton of games in college, but several NFL games. I watched a few Patriots games, and he is just as explosive as I thought he'd be.
Yeah.
He's a game breaker. He can make a play when something gets broken. But I knew that coming in. Judkins, however, is just a level higher than I expect him to be. And I'm not saying he's better than Henderson, but at the time, I like Henderson better. I liked the fit to Judkins to the Brown. It made sense to me.
Yes.
After watching Judkins play behind this terrible line with shaky quarterback play where people could stack the box, I left thinking Judkins was way more of an NFL running back than I had thought. His top end speed was this big question. His top end speed is pretty good.
Yeah.
And
And I
so
think
if he
they
gets back healthy,
both fit. I think they fit perfectly for where they
where
landed.
they went.
I think
You're
they're
right.
both equal, and I think they're better for where they landed.
Yep.
And I think the
Probably
teams
right.
picked perfectly. Speaking of picking perfectly and trying to decide who's better, I'm going to bring up Jason Lloyd in his recent comments. Not much about Jason Lloyd in his comments, 'cause I'm sure you guys talked about that last week. Or was that
A little
past the
bit.
show? I can't
A little
remember.
bit.
Yeah. But talk about more the response and how people responded to Jason Lloyd's comments about Shador Sanders not watching tape, not understanding how to
Right.
watch tape. So there's a difference, people. He didn't say Shador Sanders isn't watching tape. What he is saying is he's not processing it properly.
And to be fair, because one person did call us out on this, and looking back, and I'm like, I kind of agree. The content, the post you created does say
Yes.
does not watch film.
it's-
But I thought in the
do
post that I
guys.
posted with
As
it,
the content
I
creator, I
explained
want
it
your
pretty
attention,
well.
and I want your
Hey,
engagement. So it's meant
Hey,
to
you
do
nailed
that.
it. No, you nailed it. But also the idea is you see that picture and then you read the caption, guys, for the people that some people like comment like, oh, so you're saying he's never watched film before. I'm like, obviously he's watched.
Obviously.
Nobody said he has never watched film. What they said is he's not a big film watcher, which means he's probably not watching it as much as they want on his own, and or He just doesn't know how to watch it well, which would not be a shock to me at all. And the response I got was so overwhelmingly like, we did have people that are like, "I believe it," like, he didn't know his reads, whatever, whatever. The amount of, like, negative response of, like, "You don't know this," and it's like, "Yeah, I don't know this. This isn't my story." However and Jason Lloyd also does know this. However, he is believing whoever was in the building and telling him, and he did specify it was more than one person, and they told me enough people told me that I can't ignore it. He literally phrased it in, like, the most, I thought, professional way ever, like, I just can't ignore it because it's coming from too many people and it's too consistent. And I just thought it was crazy that people had such a problem with him reporting this because that's literally his job. None of us know what's going on in the building. His job, what we're always asking Browns reporters to do is, why don't you find a source in the building? Why don't you get some inside information? And so many people were like, well, why didn't he go to people with a different view and report that? And I'm like, because he's not looking for opposing views. He's just hearing what he's hearing in saying it back. But again, it just I just thought it was a crazy response, the amount of people that were like, this is like an unacceptable thing for a reporter to say. And I'm like, no, it's exactly what a reporter's job is to say.
Yeah.
I just
Mike,
thought it was crazy. But also, I want to point out, it's not necessarily his opinion. It's just regurgitating what he's hearing. The question he did wasn't just outing him. The question was, you don't seem sold on this kid as the number one, as going to be a successful number one quarterback. Tell us why. And he answered it. And then on our end, like, we're just reporting the report. Like, we're not saying he doesn't. We're not saying he does. We're saying, like, some people in the building did. And by the way, everyone, who do you think those people are? Most likely offensive staff, most
they live
likely
in
now gone.
they moved
But
into
they were
Atlanta. They moved
saying
to
that
Atlanta.
yeah, they were saying that probably to him while they were there, whoever these sources are, and they were probably much more open with him after they left because he probably asked, like, what was going on with Shador, Dylan, and these guys? And they're probably like, Shador doesn't get the film. And what's crazy to me is the amount of like backlash, like that can't be true because it was the same thing we were hearing out of the combine. Like he doesn't know stuff on the whiteboard. He doesn't understand some of these things. And he had an offense under his dad, under Pat Shermer, who's an NFL guy, but like tailored to him. So like to me, like I just thought like this is not an unbelievable report. And it doesn't mean like he won't pick it up. You know, he's not going to pick up the pace. Doesn't mean he won't. Maybe he does better, but like just the outcry of it was like kind of crazy to me because I'm like, this is not like
Mm.
nobody's all. It's not the craziest thing to say. Like a rookie came into the league and wasn't great with the film.
That's
Hell,
Mike.
Kyler Murray had to have a clause in his second contract. I will study
Say
more
stop
film.
playing video games and watch film.
But
Literally, it's in this clause. Look at it. It's a lot, tons of stories. Kyle Murray's in his contract. Stop playing video games and watch more film. It
and
doesn't
he's not the
not
only one. I've
verbatim. It's
heard this
probably
from
some smarter than that.
I've heard this about a bunch of guys where they're like, he just doesn't. He's not a crazy film junkie.
Michael Vick was one of them.
I think,
Michael,
yeah, Michael Vick came out and said, like, I almost watched
yeah.
no film. And coaches were like, yeah, that is true.
Yeah, he
He
liked
just
watching
was
things
so
fight.
good. And
Farrell's right though. He
Sanders
said
is
with
kind
new
of a
plays and
natural,
coaching,
right?
scratch everything out.
Yeah.
He said with new players and coaching, scratch everything out that you know about our players.
And
Yeah.
that may be true. Like I said, with it, I don't disagree. Like maybe he has a better connection with Monken. Maybe the way Kevin watches film with it, people are like, Kevin had special film sessions with him. Yeah, why do you think that is? Why do you think the head
That's the
coach
point I
had to
brought
have
up too.
special
Yeah.
quarterback film
I brought
sessions?
that up.
But the way I've studied with people that like think different than me, and I can't like they explain something, I'm like, I don't get it. And then I talk to somebody else, and I'm like, oh, that's so easy. Like somebody shows you how to do math, and you're like, it's losing me. And then somebody else shows you a trick, like, oh yeah, just break these into two things. And you're like, oh, why didn't somebody just say that? That's so easy. Like,
Yeah.
so maybe he gets a better group. But
Yeah, maybe he learns differently. And that's just what I said Friday night on my show. I don't I told Sam, like, I'm not surprised by these reports, everything you said, the whiteboard. And by the way, it's
Mhm.
more than just the Giants that have reported, it's the New Orleans Saints and the teams that were
Several
above the
teams.
Browns before.
outside of the Browns, with
Outside of the
no
Browns, there's
reason to throw
several
this
teams.
kid under the bus,
The Giants
no
were
reason
the
to lie
only
about
team
it.
that came out that were snitched on. They were told that did it. The whiteboard, the extra sessions with Kevin because he's learning the tape. It's believable from that perspective. Not only because you can tell in the field he had a hard time learning. He did get a little better with each game. So now but
True.
it doesn't mean this is the end of his like career.
Right. That was never the report. Jason
Yeah.
Lloyd was never like, no chance this kid can
Yeah.
succeed. He'll never start studying film. He'll never get better. Like that was not the report, and that's not the report now. In
Yeah.
fact, like
Exactly.
we're hoping he's looking at his film from last year and going like, this is how I got to do this. We're hoping with this relationship with Tom Brady, he's talking to him like, how did you study film? I told a really good story that I think is worth sharing. I didn't have to study much in college. I didn't buy a lot of my books. I
I
just
did.
have a knack
I
for
didn't
like
even go to
hearing
college.
information. I'm very auditory. So I have a knack for if I had a lot of friends who skipped a crap load of classes in college. I did not, because as long as I went to class and heard it, I was gonna get an A on the test. That's just how I learn. I hear it. If it needs like if it was really tricky, I'll like write a quick note. My note taking sucks. I'm very much likely to write like one word and look it up later, or like write a real quick shorthand. But I wasn't good at taking notes. I was really good at listening. I was not a good studier. I got to grad school. I bombed my first quiz, like bombed it. And I was like, what the heck? I'm doing like more than I've ever done. I had no idea how to study. I had to go like connect with different classmates, talk to some of my teachers. I just never had to do it to this level. And I talked to a classmate. He's like, "Well, I wrote all my notes in class, then I rewrite them all. Like during this one class, I wrote 3 pages of notes. Then I go home and I rewrite all 3 pages again. Like I just read them, write them, read them. Then I make flashcards of each major point, and and I'm like, whoa!
That's a
Like
lot of
I've
work,
never
bro.
done any of that stuff.
That's a lot of work, man.
It's
These
a lot of
kids
work, but
nowadays haven't made it. It's made, dude. They sit
it
there
was
and they hit a
grad
button on
school.
their laptop, and boom, all the notes get typed out for them.
My
Cheaters.
my point was I did really well in grad school, but to start, like, I just didn't somebody had to teach me how to study, because my studying was always like, well, those couple things I didn't quite catch or understand, or I was kinda snoozing through in class, or, like, just wasn't paying full
Yeah.
attention or whatever. Whatever I jotted down, like, "Oh, look this up. I didn't quite catch that," was all I ever did, but there was just so much more information in grad school. It was not like, "Oh, it's twice as hard." It was, like, 4 times as much information, and it all built on itself. So it was like anything you learned one day, you couldn't, like, cram, and then now good, it's gone. Like, everything in grad school built up. You learned every bone, every joint, every connection, every
There's a
ligament,
song
every
for that.
nerve.
There's a hip bone connect
Yeah,
to the.
yeah, which is kinda like I
That's what
thought
I
that was
wrote on my
pretty easy.
notes.
I thought, "This is the hip," and somebody's like, "That hip has 19 parts you have to memorize." I'm like, "Oh."
Oh,
And then when you learn the muscles, you'll have to know those and, like, everything just built up on itself. And so it was like you had to know everything perfect because it was gonna come back later. And so, like, to me, when I hear a story like he didn't really know how to watch film and study, to me, that resonated immediately, and I was like, "Yeah, I get that." I totally had that same issue because I never really had to do it that way. And would it be shocking if he had his dad as a head coach for 4 years in college and things were done to what he did best and he never had to, like, learn something he wasn't comfortable with? That wouldn't shock me.
yeah. That my right keeps on writing about Jason Lloyd's bias. I think Jason Lloyd has a thing against Cleveland Browns in general because he's
He's
never
very
positive
negative.
and he's
He's
very
very
negative.
negative.
So I agree with you on that. He
But
just
again,
has a
he's a
bias. He hates
journalist,
Cleveland.
and if I do not believe he's lying, which people are like, he's just straight up lying. He might be biased, could be, I don't know. But he actually was very not big on Dylan Gabriel. Zach Jackson, I don't know anybody who liked Dylan Gabriel less than Zach Jackson. He also reported this same story last year that Shador had trouble with the film, and he hates Dylan Gabriel and was very like, we should have just taken Shador there or skipped Gabriel altogether and taken Shador later. So I don't think he's biased. I think he wanted Shador to work, believed in him, thought that was the guy, and he reported a similar thing. That's why I find it believable. Tom Brady mentioned something about the film. Rex Ryan
He
came out
said
and mentioned
stuff.
something about the
Yes.
film.
Yeah.
All those guys from the Giants, the Saints, the Cardinal, like it came up in other places. So yeah, if Jason Lloyd could be biased, but I don't believe he made up the story. I believe he really did have sources who told him that. I
And
can't guarantee
I
it, but
think that
he's a legit
if he did
journalist.
have trouble watching the film and it was a bad communicator with Kevin, I think one thing that we can feel encouraged about,
Mhm.
Shador is going to learn film with Todd Monken because Todd Monken's a better communicator, better teacher, and he is going to be invested in the quarterback because if
Yeah.
not, He's going to get fired, and he doesn't want to get fired
true.
after just getting his job he's waited 60 years for.
And before we move on, I'll just say I liked Kevin Stefanski like more than many. I like him more like the NFL. I like him. I think Browns fans, again, like some of the players we talked about, Browns fans were more down on him than the entire NFL fan base and teams. I like him more around the general consensus, not of Cleveland. But I also will say, and we've talked about this on the show several times, Kevin was more of a, I have a way I want things done, and I need these players to learn it and fit into it. Todd Monken has been very open about, I want to find out what the players do well, and then I am more willing to put in the work to like change everything to match them. And that should work better for Sanders
100%.
than what Kevin was. Kevin's fit was guys like Kirk Cousins, guys like Baker Mayfield to an extent, even though he was stubborn. A guy like Dylan Gabriel, a guy who's like, I'm going to tell you how to do it, and I want you to do it exactly like I say. That is more Kevin. Todd's going to be like, I'm going to watch you play, figure out what you can do, and I'm only going to ask you to do the things you can do. And that's a different philosophy. By the way, both work. One of the best coaches in the NFL, several of the best coaches in the NFL are the Kevin Stefanski way, where they're like, I'm going to tell you how this has to be done. And this was a disconnect with him and Barry that nobody talked about for years. Deshaun Watson didn't fit that. A lot of people did not fit that. We kept drafting people who were pretty good players, but don't fit like Kevin's model. And we understated how much that happened, where like we put somebody into place that was not what was going to work for Kevin. And if, that's something Atlanta, I would be curious to know if Atlanta drafts the type of guys that fit his system, or if they draft just, I like this guy better, he's better talent.
I liked real quick. I liked Kevin. I thought he was a smart coach, but there was no adaptation whatsoever. He wanted a yes man. That was it. He wanted a yes man, somebody that was going to do whatever he told him to do and roll with that. That was his way or no way. The same Burger
And again, it works.
Browns.
Kyle Shanahan is you have to do work in my system guy.
But he probably knows how to communicate it better.
He's just better.
Yeah.
I mean, he might, but he's stubborn. He's like, this is how I play. The difference is he has more power to get the guys that will fit. And here, I don't think Kevin had that. But Monken is a different type of coach.
Yes, 100%. Where I want to get this at, though, is if this was said about Dylan Gabriel about not watching tape, would there be a lot more people defending him? Or would they say, see, this is why he sucks. See, this is why why did they draft him? Why did they draft him?
If somebody said in the building, yeah, Watson doesn't really watch film,
get him out of here.
All the fan base would be like, cut him.
Get him out. He's done. He's done. Why do the Browns do stupid stuff? They get quarterbacks that doesn't watch tape. But there's so much grace and understanding when it gets to a certain Shedeur Sanders. And I get it. He has a fan base. I love him. I'm a fan of Shedeur. I think I'm more of a balanced fan. Like, I understand that he does probably need to watch tape. He does need to throw less interceptions. I'm a truthful fan. I can tell you the truth. I also am hoping and praying that he works out, because I would want somebody like that who is a leader on this team, because he has good character, he has good talent, and he's fun. So I'm
a fun player to watch.
Leading to God that this guy, because I'm tired of going after quarterbacks. Let it stop this year, please.
And I'm all for him. I really am. I want this to work out as well. But here's the thing. All these Cleveland people that are now fans, that are Shedeur fans and not Cleveland fans, you guys don't know what the quarterback situation in Cleveland has been like the last 30 years. So just hit the brakes a little bit.
And here's the other thing, too.
And then become a Browns fan.
No, I totally agree with you. And you can tell that they're not, because I constantly have people interacting with me online who are like, you guys. And I'm like, who's you guys? And like, Cleveland fans. I'm like, okay, so you're not one then. Because, if you are one, I think you look at these positions differently. Same as you looked at the Watson trade differently. Same as you looked at like the Baker bros. Baker left. They were out of Cleveland forever. I've never heard from another Oklahoma fan in 4 years.
Only when Baker wins.
When Baker was here, I heard from Oklahoma fans all day, every day. Same as I hear from Baker fans. Shedeur fans now.
Read that last comment.
We're hopeful Browns fans.
You see?
You
gotta be.
Yeah, hey, we need those new Browns fans to pay for the new PSLs in the new stadium. So come on, let's go.
No, to close the conversation though, there is nothing that could help this team better than someone on this roster, especially on a rookie contract, especially with like some kind of
He's
upside who can
talented,
take
man. He's
over that
so
role.
talented.
Because guess what, everyone? I don't expect us to come in on the bottom 3 next year either. And as much as we talk about next year's class being the greatest in history, like we did for this year's class last year and last year's class the year before, and
The
that
year
class the
before.
year before, it happened in 2023. It hasn't really happened again for all these years, but like the best thing that can happen is he works out. That's better than Watson working out
100%.
by far. It's better than bringing in a free agent. It's better than hoping for next year's draft. If he can work out, that's the best thing that could happen. It would be
I'll
incredible.
say this, Shedeur Sanders, if you're listening, prove him wrong. We're rooting for you. As Browns fans, we're tired of the names and that jersey. We want to burn that jersey for the next 15 years. We believe that you can be the guy. Do it. Take Jason Lloyd's comments and add it as fuel and ingest it and use it as fuel to study as much film as you can. Let you dream about film and then come out this year, beat Watson, take us to the Super Bowl, and everybody's happy. And then you get your extension for the next 15 years. And then my kids will wear your jerseys and they don't say you suck every Sunday. And I can be a proud Browns fan on Monday. Okay. That's what we're rooting for.
Clip
We want
that.
proud Browns fans on Monday. But if not, there is 2027. But unfortunately, can all teams wait on 2027? Because that seems to be the theme, right, Chad? You see, you're on
That's the
X, I'm
theme
on
every
X.
year.
Everybody.
This
Every
year, but next
I'm
year.
listening to mock drafts where they're saying like, oh, well, the Cardinals would need a quarterback, but they should wait for 2027. And the Browns, I think they should pass on taking anybody this year. They'll wait till 2027. The Steelers, better luck in 2027. I think the Jets will get their guy in 2027. I'm like, do you think every team that needs a quarterback is going to get to draft one in 2027? We can't all get a quarterback in 2027. There's going to be like 7 teams that need a quarterback. There's not going to be A, they won't all pick 1 through 7, and B, there may be like a typical good class has like 4 quarterbacks. So we got to stop pretending like every team can just balk for 2027. Some teams, including us, have to see what they have on their roster and try to find a guy now if they can.
And you hope, as a Browns fan, you're not drafting in the top 7 again. Because if you are, it's going to be a long season, and Todd Monken isn't the guy you thought he was could be. Now,
That's
it could
the
be
problem.
injuries. It could be
He could get fired.
He could get fired.
Do you think he's
So
going to
you
get fired
hope-
year 1 though?
We've done it
Jimmy
like twice
Haslam, bro.
before
It's
under
Jimmy Haslam.
Haslam.
Well, I know, but
It's
it's his
been-
first time head coach.
Yeah, no,
you
I
guys are
agree.
changing pretty much the complete offense.
Yeah, no, I don't think he could be fired. I'm being dramatic.
I
but,
do.
uh,
But I
Chad's
think it
like,
would
I'm
take-
not being
I
dramatic.
think it would be bad. I mean, it could like if we
If
win
they
2
go
games next year,
one, if they
we
go
win
1
2
in
games next year when we
16,
won
maybe.
5 last year. You don't think he gets fired? We
Yeah.
picked up
I mean,
all these free agent linemen.
Angels got a good
And then,
point.
then you get Tate as receiver. I mean, that's a
all
good
our
point.
rookies, all our rookies are in year 2. We have another
Dude, like
draft
you-
with
yeah.
9,
I
10
mean,
picks.
Kevin won
You think
5
if he wins 2, 3
with the
games, they're not
yeah.
going to be like, okay,
Kevin
we
won
gave you
5
your shot.
with the
Now we see
Champa
why you've
line.
never been a
Yeah.
head coach. Peace out.
Yeah. I mean that's a possibility. And there's supposedly the year next year the schedule is supposed to be easier according to the experts. So
We had that
adds
2
to
years
it.
ago.
And also, like,
That's true.
also,
We had
let's say
5
we win
wins.
2 games. Let's say we win 2 games. We pick first or second in the draft. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, we're going to be able to get a coach here. Like, we're going to be able to get whatever coach we want here because they're going to want this new quarterback. You know, like, I just see a scenario. I don't think it's likely. God, I hope it's not likely. But I think if we were bad enough, I could see them being like, we made a mistake on this hire. Let's call some of the guys we talked to last year that
Young
you
guys.
liked, Angel, these young
Trey
guys
Hollis.
who might be more ready, and see if they're ready to come here and we have a better situation for them.
Let's hope not,
Eric could get
because
fired.
you're going to be the butt of jokes for the next 20 years that this happens. You hire a 6-year-old coach, and you don't even give him time to retire. But
I do have a quick question for you guys, really quick. I don't know if I sent it to you. You guys sent it to me, or I just saw it and didn't send it to nobody because I've been super sick. But it was a short video about Jerry Jeudy, and saying getting him touches will get him more amped up throughout the game, whether or not he's wide receiver 1 or 2. I mean, what would you guys put on that? Because this is supposed to be a good year for him. Supposedly, he's been working out real hard, supposedly, and I'm. It was, you know what? It wasn't me that said that. I didn't see the video or nothing. You know who said that to me?
Yeah.
Lance.
Oh, Lance. Yeah, he was on Saturday. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah, I saw.
Saturday show. Say he was saying, pretty much
awesome guest.
if Jerry Judy gets touches, that'll get him pumped up for the game. And then you could watch him go
I
from
agree.
wide
I would
receiver
agree
2
to
or
him to an
1.
extent, and I think that's a shame that that's the case with him. But I think there are some guys that need to be involved to like stay 100% invested. They need to be involved to be invested, and I think I wouldn't be shocked if he's one of them. But I expect him to be better this year, just solely based on the fact that like last year was such a crazy down year for him, and like I know he's been up and down in the past, but like I'm looking at this as guys like a guy that should be getting like 700 to 1,200 yards now, and last year just
Fell apart.
feels like an anomaly. He's
Yeah.
had one other bad year out of his time, but for the most part, he's been a disappointment as a top pick in the first round, but he has been productive, and last year, like, he just did not hit it. He
Yeah.
didn't even have as many
So
drops last year as he had the year before. He just wasn't productive.
and that brings up the next question. If we were to bring in, say, for example, Tate and make him wide receiver 1, would that piss Judy off? And would he
I don't
I
know.
don't think he gets made wide receiver 1. I
Yeah, I
think
was
he
about to say the same
becomes
thing.
wide receiver 1 by just
Over time.
outplaying Judy. So I
Yeah.
think that's a good way to give Judy some competition, but without somebody that so overshadows him that he just feels like he's out of the mix. Like, I could still see Judy getting more targets than Tate does as a rookie, even if Tate, like, looks like, okay, he's the future and Judy's, like, gonna finish
Even if
out this contract
even
and be
if
done.
Tate makes more of an impact, I think Judy will get
Correct.
more targets.
Anybody
I
they brought in, Tate,
Yeah,
Lemon,
anybody.
and I think Judy could out-target them, especially given, like,
And
how
let's not
confused
forget, guys, like, we had 2 rookie quarterbacks last year. We had Dylan, and then we had Shador. We had a messed up line, and then we had rookies contribute not maybe 80% of your offense. You had Fannin and
You and I
Judkins.
watched that film, Angel. I think it's pretty obvious Judy was upset for the same reason when we watched this film. There was so many instances where Judy would
It
make
was
a cut,
open.
and the quarterback, whichever one it was looking that direction,
You're just
and
afraid.
they tucked the ball and turned and kept looking through reads. No wonder he's frustrated. When he makes that cut and looks, he's expecting the ball to be in the air. It never was. The 2 rookies last year just could not throw with anticipation, and the one guy that could kinda do that, Flacco, he's 40. We none of us on the show expected a ton from him, and that's when Judy was having his most drops. He dropped most of his balls in the first couple weeks, and then it kinda tapered off. But,
Can that
like,
contribute
he
to the
was bad.
fact of lack of mini camp and training camp opportunities? Because Kevin used to sit people. Yeah, he's a rest day. Let's
A
end
lot.
this.
It was a soft
Yeah,
camp. You're right.
let's play in the preseason, a couple routes here, a couple routes there. Get those hands nice and warm for when game 1 comes, you're not dropping passes. Because it's true. And since Jerry Judy's been here, the first 3 or 4 games, it's then ramped up for him in season, not preseason. And then by game 5 or 6, he's catching balls. So let's Monken needs to change the culture when it comes to them playing in the preseason and
Yeah.
minicamp
And that's
for
one
sure.
thing, like, I like Kevin. I do not think he was a culture setter. I think he did really well shifting pieces. I think his best feature was, like, taking some mediocre guys and elevating them to, like, a good playable scheme that, like, helped mediocre guys be a little bit better. But I just don't think he was a guy that was, like, he didn't have the voice in the building with the front office or with the play, or, like, naturally his personality to, like, really push players. And, like, I think it would have been helpful for him to have a really vocal OC. Like, we kinda had a vocal DC, and we saw the defense for the most part just outplay the offense through most of the tenure. But, like, he would have been somebody that would have been really good to have a vocal, emotional offensive coordinator,
Mhm.
and instead, he switched coordinators a ton, and the only one that was vocal and emotional was Dorsey, and he was just an absolute nightmare.
Yes. Real quick, Rose says Judy on YouTube. She said Judy's chest catching form is bad though. He does need to clean that up.
Judy's drops and his problems catching the ball are not gonna change now. He's been in the league for like 6 years.
And he gets about
Every
5,
year
6
he has
drops a
10
year.
Yeah, every year he has like 10 drops and like several of them were gimmies. 2 years ago he had his most. He had like 14, which is crazy. Last year he registered 10 um according to Fox Sports, who tracks it pretty closely. But that's not good. I don't believe that's changing. I think we just deal with the drops, and he just needs to be more productive to make up for it. It's the reason I'm nervous about somebody like Casey Concepcion, who also has drops problems, because I don't think our fan base can handle it.
His route
It turns
running
out
is
Denzel
crazy.
Boston, we went over last week, and Sam made me feel a little better about it because I heard something about like he had some drops in the combine, and he made me feel a little bit better going over his drop rate in college. So much better than I
Yeah, he has a
expected.
better drop rate. But we'll see. We're going to do something new this week. Every week for the next couple of weeks, we're going to do quarterback watch because we're Browns fans. So every quarterback is rumored to come to us, and we're going to specifically talk about a quarterback that is in the draft specifically that can fall to us. And it's not that we're advocating for that because, again, we're not advocating for it, at least for right now.
I think most people don't expect one, right? But
Yeah.
I think we should be open to the idea that
Shit,
if
could have
one
fooled
falls
me.
to
How
a
many
round,
quarterbacks do we had on his team
Mike's,
since '99?
Like we have 45
yeah, but
quarterbacks.
here's the
on this
thing.
team.
Here's the thing. We have 3 right now. How many from this team? What is the maximum from this team right now that you think are on this
4,
team in
Chad.
2027?
4.
You're gonna have to bring in 4 at least for minicamp.
No.
Because you need
Listen
that
to the
extra
question.
month.
Listen to the question. Look at the quarterbacks that are on the roster right now.
Okay.
What is the most you think from this crop that we have on the roster right now are on the roster still in 2027? We have 3 right now. How many of those 3 do you think are on the 2027 roster?
3
2.
I think 1. I think Deshaun's gone. I think
this
Gabriel's
year
probably
or
gone.
next year. Oh, next year.
2027.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said 6. Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
drafting
Well,
for
yeah.
2020. We're not drafting a quarterback to play in 2026, guys. If we
I
draft
thought-
one, it's because they
I
want to
thought-
develop him for the
Okay,
future.
I thought you were talking about this year. 1, and they might not even be.
Yeah.
On
Unless
this.
Watson
Me
is
and Angel couldn't
incredible.
comprehend that, and he's the one drinking.
No, I thought we were talking because we were talking about going
be
into
2.
this conversation.
I
It could
thought
be
so.
2. They
But
want 3. They want 3 on the
Deshaun
roster
Watson's
next year.
definitely gone.
I think it's make or break for Sanders this year. I think if he doesn't look good, they're going to want to get away from the distraction. I think if he does look good, you have no reason for Watson, and you probably are looking on moving somebody different from Gabriel.
Yep.
But I think 1 to 2 the most this year, which means like I could see them cutting their losses. And if they love Drew Alar, Ty Simpson, Nussmeier, whoever it is, if they love that guy, they'll be like, well, we have no long-term future in Watson, and if we don't see something amazing out of Gabriel and or Sanders, one of them might be gone the next year. It's not the Stefanski group that wanted them before anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the question I have for you, if it's between Shador or Dylan as a backup, who's going to be the backup?
I think
Shador. I'm just being honest.
I think part of it depends on the starter. I think Gabriel is a more set backup that
There
doesn't
you go.
distract
That
the
would be my
team.
answer. I think Dylan will be
Sanders-
a better
I think if you-
backup. Sanders has to get out of here because he's going to want to be a
I think if
starter.
you bring somebody in and you have to move Sanders to the backup, people are going to always be on it every week, and it's going to bother the team.
Yep.
That every week a quarterback throws an interception, they're like, why isn't Sanders playing? Like, I could see how that could become. I think for Sanders to stay on this team, he needs to become the starter, and I think that's his best path, and that's our best path. Not having to bring in somebody else. But,
yeah, he'll be the better option.
but let's just say Watson never recovers. Sanders is this great starter. I don't think it hurts to bring in anybody in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. Who cares? Like whatever round, like they did with Sanders last year, to say like, future backup, maybe starter, whatever.
So this
So it's worth
quarterback
covering one a week.
Yeah, we're going to cover one a week, and this week we're going to cover Ty Simpson, Mike's favorite quarterback. I'm just playing. I don't know if Mike likes Ty Simpson.
Risky.
I
Simpson is like my Jackson, or not so much Jackson Dart, because Jackson Dart was more like these physical tools that you couldn't see. Ty Simpson's maybe a little bit more like my Tyler Shuck, where it's like, Could he go in the first round? Will he go at the beginning of the second round? He could work out, but there's a huge risk factor of spending the pick on him because it could totally miss and it'd be a waste. I feel like that's where I am on Ty Simpson right now.
Mike,
I
Mike say I don't want to talk quarterbacks. That's my
no. I mean, I do, because as of right now, again, as we are every year, we're in the unknown of what's going to happen with the quarterback situation, whether it be due to injury or just bad play. We
And
never
we have
know.
a new staff, and one major player on our new staff has some very good experience and insight on Ty Simpson. So unlike a guy like Mitch Trubisky, where it's like he didn't play much in college, we don't know what to expect from him. Todd Monken probably has a pretty good idea of what to expect from him.
Yeah. Wright says Ty has been wooing the Browns to press. Yes, he has. Talking a lot
Fair.
about Monken. He has been wooing.
I
He's like,
will point this
"Me
out
and
though.
Monken are great."
Who said that? Who said that?
Wrights on YouTube.
Okay.
At least
I will
that's how
say
can-
this. I caught a segment the other day, and I don't listen to a lot of Cleveland sports radio, but I caught a segment the other day on Ken Car it was Carmen and Lima, and somebody else they had a guest on, I don't remember his name, Danny something. And he was talking about, like, I think the Browns are gonna be I think Ty Simpson's most likely linked to the Browns because he's been talking so highly of them in the press. And they went through and they played a clip of him equally talking highly of the Steelers and equally talking highly of they went through like
Anybody.
3 other teams where he said the exact same compliments of like he said the Jets, the Steelers, like everybody that needed a quarterback. He's like, "Oh man, I would love to go this place. They're so great. Their coach is awesome." And I was like, "Wait a second."
All right, now we're
He's
live on
saying
our
the same
Facebook.
stuff
I
about
fixed that.
everybody. He's
Nice.
playing straight up politics. Like, "Oh no,
Sorry.
the Jets are incredible."
So
Guys, I'm kind of for it. Don't get me wrong. Bring him in here for a year and let him sit and adapt to what the NFL is.
Gotta sit. He's
You're an
played no
Alabama kid.
football,
That's
right?
great. You had almost 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 5 picks, and you're an Alabama kid. It'd be great to bring somebody in this year and let them sit if next year doesn't work out for one of these quarterbacks, whether that be Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, or Shedeur Sanders, and then see what you can get out of them. But again, 2027 is the year, right? So,
yeah.
And where do you take him in a draft if he's available? I mean,
I'm opposed to this pick because I just don't like outliers. I'm never one to bet on outliers. You know, I'm not like it was the same thing with I love Tyler Shuck, but I would have never spent a first round pick. I thought he could be great. I thought if it weren't for the injury history, he could be a top pick. Like he just has everything I want out of quarterback. But he was a big outlier. Same with some other guys. Same with Ty Simpson. Guys who play that little college ball typically don't succeed. So like I'm anti-picking that guy, but in my brain I'm keeping it an open mind because if Monken doesn't care about how many games he played because he recruited him, he likes him, he knows his family, he like has trust in the kid like doing the work. I can see I will probably get a little spark of excitement if we draft him just because anytime you bring in a quarterback, you're like, okay, more hope. But I am pretty anti this pick because I just don't think you bet high picks on outliers. I think Dylan Gabriel was an outlier. He's small and he doesn't have a very big athletic profile to make up for it like some of the other small guys. So like that's why he fell where he fell and probably should have fell farther. At least another round, if not 2. But like I don't like to bet a first or second round pick who I want to be an impact starter on those. But who knows? What if people are freaked out about him? He lasts to the 3rd round and the Browns are like, dude, we got to take this kid. That's where I'll be like, okay, you feel like you had to do it based on the talent.
We'll see what a 3rd rounder did for us this year. Go ahead, Angel.
He passed up.
Hopefully he won't play like the 3rd rounders on our team.
Did
have played this year.
by
We played a
game
3rd
7.
we played a 3rd and 5th round rookie, and people thought it was crazy not to. But like, that's a hard position. Like 1st and 2nd round rookies have trouble going in and playing as rookies. Like it's just hard to expect anything from anybody past the 2nd round, especially at quarterback.
Yeah, Ty Simpson is an interesting prospect because you look at his stats and you look at it and you see a 67 for the first 11 games, 67% completion percentage. He had close to 3,000 yards passing, almost 9 yards per attempt. He had 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So that's a 5-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And you're like, this is great. But then the last 2 games is where people put the pause at because against Alabama and Auburn, tougher competition when it comes to the SEC. He went 1 for 1. He went 28 for 74 with 334 yards with a 51 passing percentage, 4 touchdowns and 6 sacks. Matter of fact, his whole year last year, he was sacked 29 times. Now, a lot of people say that's because the line was so bad. So if the line was so bad and you give him a better line, will these numbers improve? That
That
is the
sounds
question.
familiar.
Yeah, it sounds familiar,
I
right?
think Shador sacked exactly 29 times as well.
Probably.
He also had a bad line in college and in the pros
Yeah.
so far.
So that is what makes him intriguing because you put those numbers up to what we have already on the roster,
Yeah.
and you ask yourself, why would you draft somebody you already have on the roster? And why would you draft your third quarterback in 2 years when you need plethora of talent
And the only
and
way
waste?
I think it's realistic is because the 2 quarterbacks that you drafted last year were under a different head coach and regime,
I agree.
even though we have the same GM.
That is the
The
only
only way I
answer.
see it, this feels like a pound the table pick where he's sitting there at a certain position. Like some people are like, who was it? Todd McShay, I think, said I had him graded higher than um he had him graded as the number 1 quarterback for the first like 7, 8 games of
Yeah,
the
if you
college
look at
season.
his stats, you would see that he was running head to head with Mendoza for sure, and he's
Yeah.
not lying when it comes to that.
And then he's like, but then he falls, and you wonder because he's played so little, did he fall because teams figured him out? Or did he fall because he just had bad games and they happened to be at the end? Or was it the injury? But because he played so little, we don't know.
We don't
Did
know.
teams just figure out how to stop him and they did? Or is it a coincidence? So, like, because he played so little. What gives me pause is the fact that he could have stayed in college and played 1 more year and made a good amount of money.
Yeah, someone brought that up
He
in the
must have
comments,
got
so
some insight that he was getting picked or he wouldn't
yeah.
have come out, and that's been wrong before. Malik Willis came out, and he
Dropped.
fell pretty far in the draft. He was
Kenny
a
Pickett
developmental
got picked
prospect.
before him.
Yeah, and not only did
I
Kenny
gotta
Pickett
do
get
it
picked
every
before him,
single
he
time,
got picked,
man.
like he got picked
Thank you,
in the
James,
3rd
for these
round.
hands, by
Yeah.
the way.
Now he worked out eventually, like, he looks like he might have a chance now, but, like, he was a developmental project. He's different, though. He falls under more of that Jackson Dart, like, he has the tools. Can you put them together
He
in the
does
NFL?
have a good yes.
This is not Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson he made NFL throws and he processed like an NFL player for most of the season until the end. And the question is, was it injuries or was it him getting figured out that caused that dip at the end? And a team is going to have to make that decision at the end because if it was just that he got hurt and he was playing injured and so it dropped his play a little because college is getting pretty high level, man. You can no longer like just play at 75% and be good. It just can't.
Yeah.
It's too competitive now.
But it
And
is completely different at the same time.
it is. But he projects more as a pro quarterback because college quarterbacks, I think, sometimes excel with like mobility and backyard play, and he's not that guy. He's a guy like I listened to Greg Cosell review him, and he said he's his clear number 2. He's kind of a late first round type of guy, and when he was playing well, he looks like an NFL quarterback
I
based on
like
the tape.
Rose.
And he basically just said, like, but it's a giant risk, and that's where I'm at. I'm like, to me, it's too risky, and I am more in like you could sink or swim with the guys you have. If they pick him, I won't freak out, but like you don't pick him unless somebody in that room is like, I absolutely believe in him 100%.
See,
Let's get him in the
I
building.
agree with Rose on YouTube. I think Nutsmeyer has a higher ceiling than Simpson. I'm a Nutsmeyer guy.
1,927 yards, 12
And
touchdowns,
he
5
has played
interceptions.
more, and he's played more, and he has more proof.
Wasn't he
And I
injured
think
this year?
he was injured, and he had a horrible situation with Brian Kelly and LSU that was just hurt him in general. But people are saying if he falls to 24, would you get him? Man, I just feel like you need talent on this team, man. Yeah,
Again,
you
you
need
only take him if
receivers.
you're like, this is our
Yeah,
guy, because like it's a risky pick even at 24.
yeah, yeah. Dan is a big Dan. Facebook says I'm a Ty fan. Yeah, every time I post
Dan
about
likes
him,
him. A lot of
yeah,
people liked him. A
yeah.
lot of people were like, what I see is an NFL quarterback. And I just, like I said, I'm not one for betting on outliers. If he falls the second round, just like I said last year with Tyler Shuck, like I wasn't going to take him in the first round, but if he fell to the second, I would have been okay with it. But again, second rounder is somebody you're expecting to start for you day one. Maybe not if you pick a quarterback, but like, so are you going to give up I mean, you got Carson Western, Judkins in those rounds. You got JOK in that round. You got Joe
Some
Batoni
good
in that round.
players.
You have good 10-year players that you get at the top of the second round. Are you willing to do you love this kid so much as a starter within the next calendar year that you are going to give up the type of guys you get in the
You
second
could probably
round?
give up Amari Cooper. He'll probably be there. Dunker, an offensive lineman that you can get. You're probably going to give up. You have to
This
pass up
draft
on
has second rounders.
a safety from
You
Toledo
could get a
that
left
you're going
tackle
to
in the
need.
second round
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be needs in that second round that you need to address that a lot of people are forgetting because we're so focused on the
Receivers,
offense.
defensive tackle,
Yep.
safety, like, there's stuff you may not need directly right now, but you will need sometime this year and into next year. Agreed. Like, if you
I
take this
say,
kid, you better love him because you're missing on a player who is very likely a good player.
I say,
So
just wait till 2027. Um, hey, Chad, you want to pull up that website? We're about to get into some mock drafts here.
let's do it.
Mock draft site. Let me pull this up.
Oh yeah,
Is
I
it?
came in late. Obviously, people
Share
don't know
mode.
how to stop rolling their cars over. So
Yeah, once you share it, I'll put it on the screen. We're gonna do a quick 3-round mock draft. Y'all can play along with us. Let us know who you're going to pick. You're going to see who the players available on site here, right in front of us. You guys, we'll wait. We'll pick, and then we'll read your guys' pick. We'll give you some time to pick. But
Yeah.
obviously, the Browns are going to be on the board. We're going to come up with the consensus of who we're going to pick. We might disagree. Someone might have to bend a little bit.
And here's how we're going to go today. I think because Angel wasn't on the show when we did it last week, I think, and again, Mike, I should have shared this last week. We didn't share the screen. I didn't realize I could, but
no, you're fine. That's
Mike and I will play like assistant GM, head coach. I guess in our world, Haslam, but Angel today is going to play Andrew Berry. So Angel is going to kind of like run the conversation, and me and Mike will talk with him as if we're all the other people in the room helping come to this decision. So as you can see on the screen here, we already let the first 5 picks roll. Here's the rules. We're only doing 3 rounds. Which will be 4 picks. No trades. We're not going to do trades in March. We're going to wait till April when we start hearing some like legitimate trade chatter. So no trades. Take your guys at your spots. And again, we can only go with who's on the board. No redos.
I'm in charge.
You're Andrew Berry today because you missed last
Guys are
week.
gonna hate my draft because
No,
I'm telling you, I'm a best player available at 6 guy, and I see 2 players above Tate that best player available for me, dog.
But remember, so we're going. The board that we see in front of us is just the Pro Football Sports Network's board. This may not necessarily be your board. If you think Francis Carnell are like the best guys, like if you think Reese, like, but we'll say you're the GM, and Mike and I will just kind of talk you through like how we pull this off, and then your call.
Jimmy.
he's already got his mind made up.
You're Jimmy and JW. You guys are in the room talking to me. Okay. All right, guys. Our pick is in. So what do you guys want to do?
Yeah, so we're up. There's obviously, like, to be honest, if this is how the board fell with Fernando, Bailey, Love, Baines, Styles going, and this is who's on your board, I would take all 4 of these people. Like, I feel very good about this. This is where I would say, like, hey, we should probably start making some calls or hope the phone rings. The problem is we've already made the rule basically saying, like, nobody calls.
Yeah.
We call, we ask anybody want this pick.
Hang out.
And the 9,
You hang
7,
up.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12
go to
are all
voicemail.
like, we like these guys. I think we're going to let you guys make this decision for us. So we got to make a pick.
All right, guys, let us know your pick here at 6. Let us know in the comments. We'll read them out. Dan says you got to take the name. I can't say the right tackle, Maluga.
Maui Noah. I'm
Maui Noah.
practicing.
Maui Noah. I hope we don't get him. He's going to be a tackle anyways. He's going to move. He's going to be our guard eventually. You get him at 6. That's
Yeah, people. So I just want to point out, people have him and Fano with very similar. I'm hearing more that he'll stay at right tackle, but he could eventually move to guard if it doesn't work out. I'm hearing more from Fano, like expect Fano to be a right guard. Don't expect him to be a tackle.
Yeah,
but
that's high for a 6. That's why I'm not going to even look at them. Get a couple. Reese, definitely. Yeah, KP, you're reading.
It's
my
funny.
mind.
You got 3 Ohio State guys, and then you got a fat Bernie Kosar down there.
Yeah.
What are you going with?
Francis. So a lot of people want Lemon. A lot of people say one says Reese, Freeling at 6. That's too high for me.
I mean,
guys,
look at the team. Like, we need to fill a left tackle. I don't see one here, right?
Nope.
But if we don't pick a lineman here, or like if we don't pick a receiver here, we may need to pick a receiver later, and that leaves us probably not able to get our left tackle in this draft.
I've done a lot of work with the receiver groups, guys. I feel like this is a high receiver depth. I think we can get a good receiver later in the rounds if that's what you guys.
But hear me out. Hear me out. We can get a receiver later in the round, but if we pick a receiver later in the round, then we probably can't pick a left tackle, which means if you don't pick receiver here, we probably not get a left tackle this year.
Hey, Jimmy, I don't know if you know my history. I could get a right tackle, make him play left tackle any moment.
Hey, I'm Jimmy. I'm going to pull out the checkbook, and I don't care what you say. You're going to do what I say.
I didn't want to assign a Jimmy because that's really who's in charge in this room. Let's be honest. It's not AB.
All right. So I'm going to go with who I will always say. I'm going to be honest with you.
Can I guess?
Reese is there, and that changes everything for me because I've been best player available, and for me, it's always been downs at 6, downs or bust. But the fact that Reese is there and you can get a linebacker to pair up with Schlesinger for the future. I know we just signed a linebacker for 1 year. That's fine. But you get me Reese and Schlesinger?
But hang on. You don't know anything about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah at this moment.
I don't care. You know what? JOK can stay out. He can stay on and give me that insurance money every year because I'm going to need that to save up to pay for Reese's
remember,
contract
you can't
extension.
If he's cleared to play, you can't keep him out.
I'm going to keep him out somehow. I'm just playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't want to start that stink where like you get a bad reputation because you're like, oh, they're making guys sit and ruining their career.
I understand. I have to go based upon the information I do know. I do know that JOK is uncertain, and because JOK is uncertain, and I value linebackers and defensive tackles because IAB drafted a defensive tackle last year. I traded down away from a receiver, by the way. And I traded down and got the best defensive tackle. How did that work out, guys?
Okay, remember our offense is the biggest problem right now. Before you make
decent, although we wouldn't be talking about receiver this year at all if we had just taken the receiver that was available.
You would have because he got hurt.
1,000-yard rookie.
He would have got hurt. Oh, who? You talking about Hunter or a different receiver? I'm sorry.
No. I'm talking about the kid that went to a below average Carolina Panthers team and put up over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I always forget about that receiver. You're right about that.
There you guys go. So everybody can see what's going on in the comments and everybody's picking. I'll just put that up for this time being.
I actually like that. I want to go with Reese here because I think he's the best player available. Wow. We need talent. We need skills. We need ball players, and he is a ball hawk. He tackles.
I can't argue with you. He's good, and if he can rush the passer also, and you can sometimes swing him up on third down. To rush the passer.
I just got off the phone with Rudy too. He loves him because it disguises coverages. It's just going to confuse the offenses. And what's going to be better than adding an Ohio State Buckeye to a team that is in Ohio?
The pick.
So
I will say that
I am shocked you didn't go with Caleb Downs. I almost had it as soon as I saw the board. I was like, he's going down.
I would have, but I have Reese higher on my personal board. But I don't think Reese is going to be there.
I'm putting it in. Should I put in the ticket,
Mike? Get it.
Oh, I'm Jimmy Haslam. You can shove that draft pick right up your ass there, buddy. No, it'd be great to have somebody there with Schlesinger. Don't get me wrong. Stop that. Don't hit that.
And remember, guys, most people
run game,
he can play linebacker, but he's probably going to be rushing the passer a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say our run defense could use a help, and with Schlesinger in the backfield, also helping. Oh man, I hate you, Angel.
Reese makes more
Mind-blowing.
sense there.
Mind-blowing, starting with
Oh.
defense. Okay, let's see how the board falls. This will be a
Let's
good
see
lesson
how
for
it
us.
goes. Yes, this is how I
Oh.
make my money. Dun, 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 dun.
So that's
Caleb
going so
Downs is-
fast.
oh, he's
Tate's
gone.
still there, by the way.
Oh, Shay, we're only at
Really?
14.
Tate, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Tate dropped pretty far, though. I'm surprised. We're up
Oh
next.
man.
Okay,
All right.
next.
Oh, well,
We got
Hey.
a trade.
hey, sir, we
Reject.
need a wide
Reject.
receiver
Hang
that's
up. We're gonna hang
reliable
up.
here.
We're gonna hang
okay?
up. Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
so we're
Give
looking
me-
at the recent picks. Our safeties are gone. Okay, so Jordan Tyson did go right after Carnell Tate.
Is Amari Cooper
We just
still
lost
on the
that
board?
left tackle
Omar.
with Caleb Lomu. And here we are at 24. And here's
All
the
right.
board.
Yeah, you need a wide
Messidor at
receiver,
edge,
guys. We need
McDonald.
Give me Amari Cooper Jr., please.
Omar.
Omar
Omar
Cooper Jr.
Cooper Jr.
It's hard to I do it too.
Yeah, because I'm so used to the other.
So used to Omar Cooper. I know it's so hard
Yeah.
not to do it. In
Omar
fact, the
Cooper
first time
Jr.
I saw it,
think. Yeah.
I thought that was shorthand. It really was Amari Cooper's like very young son. But
Angel,
Very
you're
young.
on
Okay.
the clock. You got
I'm going to do all Omar Cooper Jr. here. He has me the vibes of Jarvis Landry. He's got great hands. He's got 4.4 speed. If you pass up on him, he's going to make you pay. And I don't want to pay anymore. So give me the desire. I need a need and best player available on my board right now because he's a receiver is Omar Cooper Jr.
Wait,
Okay.
where did Lemon go?
Lemon probably
Lemon
went to Miami probably.
Lemon went pretty early. Lemon went 7th
Wow.
to Washington Commanders.
That's probably won't happen. I don't know. It might happen.
I don't know,
Any
man. I've heard
receivers
some
there.
people.
Yeah,
I've heard
that-
some people
yeah.
absolutely love him, and I've heard some people are absolutely infatuated. I've heard some people say the only true number 1 receiver in this class is Jordan Tyson. It's just the injuries.
Injuries, yeah.
We guarantee he's healthy.
I agree with
He's
that.
the best guy. So
I
we're
would-
going to Omar Cooper Jr.
Omar Cooper Jr. Put him in, lock him in. Dun-dun-dun.
Put him in, locked in.
Oh, hold on. I got this. I think this is the button. Nope, wrong button. It's still kind of fitting. Oh man.
Ty Simpson just
Oh,
went.
Blake
that's off.
Miller just went off the board. Dang it. Okay.
Yeah, and you can't read the board, and there's no redos. So Blake Miller, offensive tackles off the board, and actually, I think you can go by position. Offense.
See where we can go at
So the
offensive
only
line.
offensive tackles left are
Give me that guy
Proctor.
right there. Give me him, second guy. I can't read his name. Arizona State.
Iancore.
Iannachor.
Yes, I'm gonna
So
lean
first,
on.
I would like to point out to the entire fan base here that Angel, our GM, who declared I am best player available no matter what at Arvell Reese, is now skipping Caden McDonald, Caden Proctor.
I'm sorry, I can't read because it's
CC.
so far off my screen. Let me lighten this up. There we go. All right,
I
go
would-
ahead.
He is now
Cade
shifting his
McDonald,
philosophy a
okay.
little.
Yeah.
Caden
So yeah,
Proctor.
Proctor, to me, he's too big. I had a big guy there before, Dwan Jones, and he fell apart. I'm not making that same mistake again because
Okay.
my job is on the line. So I'm going to go with somebody more durable and a safer bet. And I'm going to go with Max there from Arizona State, offensive tackle.
Iannachor.
Yeah,
Okay.
not sure. Well, how am I doing, guys? Let me
One more
know.
round to go.
Cheer with Boston round 2.
I'll
got
tell you
more.
what, if this doesn't work out, me and Chad are gonna beat you up.
All right, this is the 3rd round pick. Okay, so we need a safety.
The Rose
or-
thought Lemon was the best option.
Who? Oh,
Rose.
yeah.
Prior Rose.
Lemon. I'm
Rear
not
Rose.
really high on lemon, unfortunately, as most
Sam
people.
Lacavera says KP Young. Yes, yes, yes. So we skipped a couple. Should have got Boston 2nd round. I didn't even see Boston was available 2nd round. But
Yeah,
he
I didn't
must
see
have
that.
been.
Yeah, I don't know where
Okay,
he
I'm
went.
back. I'm back on the board. Okay, so the Browns are back up. We're at pick 70. We're at the top end of the 3rd round.
Man, there's a
Caden
lot of good.
McDonald is
you
somehow
get Dunker
still
there,
sitting here
You
from
get
the
Max
Ohio State
Clare.
University.
Jennings
How
Dunker.
is he still there? I'm going to have to
Max
pick a
Clare?
defensive tackle. I mean, how is McDonald? This is not true. He's 20.
They
Let's see.
realize that because your picks aren't true.
Just for
Edge, we've got
just to see.
Max
Let me see
Clare.
who's like a safety right now. I mean, I
So
want
let's
to
go.
pick
We
kind
go-
of
we go
realistic
offense,
at the
defense.
same
So
time.
You want to see safeties?
Yeah,
Safeties,
Genesis
the
is
safeties
still
are
there.
gone. Well, I guess
Yeah,
Genesis Smith is
yeah,
there, but
Genesis is a good 3rd round. He's projected
the
to be
big ones I
3rd.
was hoping would slide down didn't make it.
Yeah. How about corners? We need a nickel. We can get them
We could
later.
use a nickel.
Rivers is a good nickel.
Uh,
He's a good
Chandler
corner
Rivers
too.
is there.
I
Yeah.
like him too. But that defensive tackle, and we know Collins is
On the
he's up in
offensive
the air.
side, you got a guard, a center, another center. You got Max Clare.
Max Clare would be tempting.
I'd go Jennings.
You do need
Dunker.
another tight end, that's for sure, and he's got the
Yes.
talent at that spot.
But
We
you
have-
do
This is a
know
tough call. This is where
Malik Collins is hurt, and he might not be ready for this season. And I can't
may not.
trust. I can't trust the Ohio State kid that we got that is unstable. He's been
Oh,
hurt.
Mike Hall.
Mike Hall
I'm not
Jr.
super worried about him, but you do have. I mean, you do have 2 very young
defensive tackles. Yeah.
defensive tackles.
Let's
know
shore up
what?
our offensive line while we're here and get a young guy out of Iowa, Jennings
You
Dunker.
know, man, dude, Max Clare.
I mean, we
is so tempting. People are gonna hate the fact that I picked the linebacker.
I can't wait for until it's
Well,
my
I mean,
turn.
honestly, it's just one of those situations
uh,
though where you're like,
uh,
that does not lead to wins this year, but it leads to a massive foundation for your future
Yeah.
because Avril Reese is a lot of people's like top 3, 4 talents in the draft.
Yeah.
So
I
I
think
get getting him at 6. It's not like the craziest thought to just this guy's too talented to pass.
yeah, I would go with the Dunker guy. Add some depth for the future. A lot of people that I've signed during this free agency, we reconstructed their contract for 1 year, big both
Mhm.
1 year, and it kind of tapers off, so we can get rid of the old guy if Dunker shows promise. So give me
Having
Jennings
young
Dunker.
linemen frees up salary cap for you to fill other spaces too next year when the cap clears a bit.
Yeah, I'll go with Dunker at
Okay.
pick.
Offensive lineman from Iowa seems like
Like
pretty
he's
safe pick.
tough. Yeah, he's tough.
So that's it for us. So coming out of it, number 6, Avril Reese. Number 24, Omar Cooper Jr. Number 39, Max Iannachor. And number 70, Jennings Dunker.
Let's
That
go.
is our. That's
And
it.
then
Like I
after
said,
that we
it's hard
get
to argue with the
Nussmeier, we're good to
talent.
go.
It
screenshot
doesn't hit
that.
need. That's a very best player available top, but there's
And
a
then
lot of
needs every
philosophy that
time after
says
that.
at the top of the draft, you need a blue chip player,
And
and
that's it.
often people skip that for need. They'll pick somebody that should have won 15 at 8 when there was somebody that was elite available, and everybody's made that mistake. Okay, I'm saving this one. I'm going to save them each week so we can kind of do a look back later.
Nice. That is mine. Next week, Mike will be doing the picks, and then Chad, and then
Or
we'll just
actually,
keep on
maybe
taking
me
turns.
because I'm out of town. I think the week after that.
Okay,
Oh
then
crap! So is Angel.
wait.
I'm heading to Japan in 2
No,
weeks.
I'm gone next
Actually,
week. I'm gone next week.
you're gone next week. Let me look at my calendar. Oh no, so I'm here next week, but I'm gone the week after that.
Yeah, that works out.
All right, cool.
Okay. So next week it'll be me. The week after that will be Mike running the show.
And it will be fun. So that's my picks, man. You cannot pass Avril Reese if he's there at 6. I'm sorry. I know we need a top. I feel that Tate will be a great number 2 receiver.
And
Anyway.
again, you guys were looking at the value of like a midline linebacker. I'm looking at him as if he does work out as a pass rusher, you now have the opposite
Elite.
guy, the terror opposite of Miles, that is just very destructive, but also could eventually be the heir apparent of Miles in 4 years when Miles leaves. You're hoping Avril Reese becomes Micah Parsons. Now that's a long shot, but imagine that scenario where in his 2nd or 3rd year, he starts to become Micah Parsons. And now you're like, well, now when Miles retires, we have somebody just to continue. I'm not that opposed to that idea.
See,
I know
KP
people
agrees
will
with
be
me.
sad because they want linemen and receivers, but I think you got a pretty darn good receiver at 24 too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my hope that Cooper would not be gone.
And my
It was either
idea.
Cooper or Boston.
Wait, did
at
it grade him?
24
Did
was
it give
my
him a
plan.
grade
No.
for this? And there's no grades on this one.
And I don't love grades on this because how they usually grade is by their own big board. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you're not thinking like their big board. So, but
See, everyone
Uh,
agrees. You can't pass that.
we'll
See, I
let
feel better
we'll
about
let
it.
the
Thank
fans
you,
grade
guys.
it. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it on X. We'll let the fans grade it. But what I was saying, what I like about this is my argument I made to you early in the draft room was if you take Tate here, you can get your left tackle at 24. Well, the left tackle I was targeting and expecting to be there was
Gone.
Lomu
He was gone.
from Utah, and he went the pick before.
By the
So
way,
I
I
would
would
have
have
been
picked
pretty
him at 24
disappointed if
too.
I had taken Tate because I thought I could get a left tackle later, and he doesn't end up falling there. And I think that's a reality fans don't catch because when you do this, you're like, nah, redo. But in real life, if you're like, I'm gonna take a receiver here so I can get left tackle at the next pick. If that left tackle doesn't land, but there's still receivers on the board, you're like, oh my God, what did I do? Now I
Right.
either take another receiver or now I'm thrown off because I was making an anticipatory pick and it didn't pan out.
And
So
Sam said, Angel, I can't believe you cheated on your guy downs. It was hard,
I
man.
thought you were going
That
downs
was
all
hard.
So
along.
did I. I
Yeah,
really
I'll
did.
be honest with you. If Reese wasn't there, it was going to be Downs all day. But I do have Reese. And the reason why I'm big on Downs
I
is I
thought you
don't
had
think
Downs
Reese is
number
going to be
1 though.
there.
Yeah, I thought you
I
had
don't think
Downs as
Reese
your
is going to
number
be.
1
Well,
guy
one,
though.
because for me, like Reese is not even in my mind because I think he's going to
Okay.
go way.
I thought he was like number 1 overall on your board.
Oh no,
But you,
It's
but,
Reese. It's Reese, Downs, Sonny, then Tate. Actually, all four
okay.
Ohio State guys are top 4 in my.
And all
Is that-
and in this scenario, the 3 of those guys were there. So like, how do you feel as a GM? Like all you're doing is like praying the phone rings and you can move back 2 spaces.
and
The
then still
3
get your
guys you
guy.
love are there. And that's how you decide your trade back.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to take you to 8, you're like, one of my guys will be there. If somebody wants to take you to 10, you're like,
I'm rolling the dice. I'm going to
yeah,
pick up
you're
a.
rolling the dice. And
Yeah.
like, do you
That's a
roll
big
the
roll.
dice? You roll the dice when you're Andrew Berry, and like if you have another bad year, you might be hot seated. Or if you're the new coach, you're like, please don't do this to me. Like,
Yeah.
give me my guys. I don't want a 2027 pick. I want right now guys. So
Can you imagine
love it.
Reese on this team?
Like I said,
Man.
I think he would be rushing the passer opposite of Miles and then I think you don't have to bring him off the field on
Third down.
first or
He's
second down.
definitely
You shift
a
him.
third down guy. You have him rushing the quarterback on third down. Do you?
Now, I'll just
And the
say
thing
he's
is,
not
it's
my favorite
crazy.
player.
It's crazy
But
because you can disguise everything with him. Like
Right.
coverage, offense is gonna be like, what the heck? You got Miles, you got this guy, you got Mason Graham
Quincy
trying
Williams
to get in here.
running at him.
Yeah, Carson Schlesinger
And
coming up the middle.
in that scenario, you need to make up some offensive guys later. You have to hope Omar Cooper Jr. works, but that is the exact reason they spent so much money in free agency on linemen, so they don't feel like they needed to pick a lineman with their first pick. And if that scenario comes up, I think they're going to consider it.
Yeah,
I do
if
not
Reese is
think
there, they're gonna
the
get him.
Browns think
They
like fans
value
think, where it's like
linebackers.
it's the best lineman available or the best receiver available. I don't think that's what the Browns do. If they think Tate is the 12th best player in this draft, and they're like, dude, Malik Neighbors is a top 6 player in a draft. Like Marvin Harrison was a top 6 player in this draft. Like, you can go through like all these years. Like Jamar Chase was a
22.
top 6 player. But if they look at this and they go, Tate's not a top 6 player, they're not. I don't think they're going to take him. And if there's a guy they think
I'll
is
be
a top
honest
6
with you.
player,
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they. I don't say I don't think they can surprise you. I don't think they're targeting a receiver at 6. If they have to pick there, I think it's going to be Downs or it's going to be a defensive player. And the people are going to be ticked on draft night, Mike. When we're doing that draft show over there at PJ
and there's
McIntyre,
linemen up there, but they're not the linemen that I think you
they
are a
like.
lock at
Yeah.
that high.
Like Bain, he has
That's a
too short of
trade
an
back.
arms. I don't think they're going to like that. I think it's right now in my heart. I feel as much as Downs as I felt toward Mason Graham as far as the
This
Browns
is giving
wanting
me
him.
hope though, because I used to say, who's going to trade up with you in this draft? Because I think trade back is the best scenario, given the way the board sits and given what your needs are. But I kept thinking, like, who's going to trade back? Because I don't believe somebody's trading up for Downs solely because he's a safety, and now he's a safety with a health question, and people are not going to give up a second round pick or a
No.
first round next year or anything like that for this kid. But when you start seeing guys on the board like Reese, or then all of a sudden you think somebody might ring you. If they look
Yeah.
at Reese and they see Micah Parsons, or Abdul Carter, they're going to call
It would
you
be,
because
I would
somebody
have to
would have
listen to
called for
that.
Abdul Carter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I would
I
have to
just
like, what are you
didn't
going to give
think,
me? Next year's number one? And
yeah.
okay, I
I
could trade
think
back
the
to 8.
combine helped a couple super athletic guys move up with Reese
Boring.
and with Downs, and that gives us a chance to get a trade, which I didn't think was possible a month ago because I was like, you don't have the type of guys trade for, like pass rushers and receivers and quarterbacks. Now maybe you do.
Yeah. See, Dan says Ohio State receivers that can't miss prospects. Also, that
They seem
linebackers
like
that
it,
can't
don't
miss
they?
can't miss
Yeah.
prospects.
Yeah, Ohio State defensive players also
Yeah.
feel pretty
They
close
are
to can't
safe.
miss.
Yeah. Like, so it's a trade-off, right? Me, I'm a best player available guy. That's why you tune in every week because Mike has a different philosophy. Chad's gonna have a different philosophy. We may have someone on
Yep.
the show that may run the draft. That's
And by
gonna
the
have a
way,
different
we
philosophy.
didn't have a chance really. There was no way you were taking Simpson when your guy Cooper was on the board at 24, and that's real life.
Yep.
And then Simpson wasn't available with that second round pick. So like this is that scenario where we say if Sanders is a guy that's so huge, because now we're going this year with somebody that should start for you day one in Reese. In fact, expect to take some calls for Alex Wright all of a sudden. And like you're looking at, okay, you did improve the receiving room and you did improve the line, both tackle and guard with this draft. And then you ended up with somebody as good as Reese who can change the way you look at this foundation. And so like I just think Browns fans are going to look at this draft and be
So
like, no way. But that is something people would have to consider if nobody were calling to trade. Like you would have to
Rodney,
look at those
Rodney
Really
guys.
quick,
said,
I want to.
go ahead.
I just wanted to hit up Steve Hemrick's comment on X. He said, I think in general, local Browns fans from Ohio are going to be upset if Browns fans don't take Downs, Reese at 6. I think they're expecting an OSU player with that pick. And Barry's actually pretty good with bringing Ohio guys home, I guess.
I think an Ohio State guy is going to be there, whether it's Tate, Downs, Reese, or Sonny. I mean, that's 4. You're picking 6.
That's why I'd be
odds
so
are you're
scared
gonna
to
hit it,
trade
yeah.
up or down. It's man, I can't wait till my turn. So I gotta wait 2 weeks for this.
Mike, I can't handle it.
So
I would
wait,
do want
I'm
Rodney
just pointing
said,
out. I just saw quick clips made it on here and said Teller just re-signed with the Browns, but that's not correct. He
Yeah.
signed
He
this
re-signed with the
afternoon, I thought, with the
Texans.
Houston Texans.
he must have saw an old
Yeah.
report. Rodney says, I think that I think it will be defense also. Reese may not fit our team as well as a 3-4 defense, though he is not a defensive end, but more like TJ Watt, outside linebacker that can rush quarterback. I don't think we're going to have a 3-4-4-3. I think it's going to be hybrid. I think Coach Rudy is going to disguise many
But also,
things.
are you thinking TJ Watt couldn't make an impact on the opposite side of Myles Garrett?
He can.
Ooh.
Yeah. Sonny
Dan says,
Styles.
let's run
To me,
mine
that's
now.
a scary prospect. I know he excels
Yeah.
in the defense he's in, but
And then maybe later in the draft, you can, like Sam said, Lorenzo Styles, the safety, you can pick him up. Just get a lot of Buckeye people, man. You make us happy.
Man.
I
mean,
I
in
would
a
hope
world,
there's
right?
somewhere in this draft where we can get another. I hope there's somewhere in this
Excuse
draft
me.
where we can get at least developmental safety. I think that would be such a great thing to come out of like
Yeah,
our
you need
third
that.
round or fourth round.
Yep.
The one I really like is the one from Toledo, which is weird, but
Yes, he's
not
getting
weird.
some. He
That's where
came
I
in
was
for a
going.
30 visit, by the way.
well, I just think it's an odd school for it to be like, oh, I love this kid from Toledo
Yeah.
like that. I haven't
Who's a
said that.
safety.
I don't think ever.
Yeah.
like it's just like okay.
I think a safety can be a play in round 2.
Yeah, I'm
They
definitely
value
not
him.
against
If
that.
they go offense,
somebody's split-
offense and then go, the safety can be.
If the talent is
CBD.
there, I just don't believe that the things we've seen from this team tell you they don't draft strictly for need and they trade around when they can, when the need and value don't fit. I just think that fans and a lot of mock drafts zone in on the idea. Like a mock draft, I think doesn't take Reese in that situation. A mock draft, like if Mel Kiper's doing like a live mock draft show, he doesn't take Reese there because he's like, no, these are my list of Browns needs. I'm taking one of these. And it's just, I don't think that's how Andrew Berry operates. Like, I don't think our biggest need last year was defensive line, but he was able to trade back, and that's how you land Graham. It didn't fit at 2, but it fit at 6. I think Schlesinger, like, is a spot that nobody mocked a linebacker high to the Browns. But Andrew Berry's like, I had him as a first round talent. He was sitting there at the top of the second round. He's 19th on our board. I'm taking him at 33. Like, that's
Win.
just
Yeah.
he's
Smartest move
proven he's
ever.
going to do that.
And before
Um,
we end the show, yes, I'm saying sorry, Mike.
I was just going to say I'm happy with what we're doing in the free agency. What we did, it was what I thought we were going to do, is clear up most of the offensive line issues, and then you can go into the draft with not needs versus wants. You can get a couple wants out of your draft and not focus on solely just offensive line. Without having no offensive line in the free agency, I think it would have been all offensive line.
Yeah.
And if you control your roster well and you draft well 2+ years in a row, you don't have a lot of needs and you can start picking whoever you want.
Right.
And guys are movable. Like, you pick a guy, like you said, in this case, you take Reese. Let's say he does slot in as a pass rusher better than a linebacker. Well, then you start making phone calls and see if you can bring in a left tackle for Alex Wright. Somebody's young, like, developmental left tackle, or like you just start trying to make moves. You say you need a pass rusher, we need a receiver or a nickel corner or whatever. You can move young, talented guys when you have enough pieces to make up the difference.
Yeah. Speaking of trade and receivers, let's talk about some trade buzz here to end the show. First one, Brian Thomas Jr. has been rumored. Actually, it's not rumored, it's certain that AB likes Brian Thomas Jr. It's also confirmed that he is trying to go after Marvin Harrison Jr. It was
Correct.
close, but then there's been gauges. The market went up for Marvin Harrison, and then the GM for Arizona stepped back a little bit as he had plenty of options, so he decided to wait. Nonetheless, Brian Thomas Jr. is out there. If he's available for trade, what would you give up for him, if anything?
Conditional 7th round. No.
Depending on if he catches the ball. If his drop percentage is below 2.
Now, he's played
I
2
would say
years. 1 year was stellar, where he looked like an absolute number 1 receiver,
last year
and
he
X
struggled.
also. And last year he fell off a little bit.
I would say
I
a
don't
third
know if
round.
I'd be willing. I was gonna say I don't know if I'd be willing to give up that 24, but I bet you, depending on how the draft falls, or if you can get a deal done before the draft, you could probably convince me to give up 39 for him. He's got
Yeah.
2 years left on his rookie deal plus a 5th-year option. So I think that's enough for me to probably give up a second rounder for him. And he can slot in your X. You can put Judy where he belongs, moving around, and then you've got guys to play your nickel position, including Fannin. You could probably convince me to give up that 39
I
pick.
don't know about 39.
I
39, that would be
know.
hard for me. 39 would be
Yeah,
hard. Because I feel like 39, you can get a good tackle or defensive player. I would give up a third, and I would be happy with that. Because he has to, there's something
I don't think they're
mentally.
giving up a third rounder for a guy that had 1,000 yards already in his first 2 years. That's tough ask.
Definitely not
speculation
giving
is
the 24.
stressful. Very stressful.
Yeah, definitely not giving that 24 back to them. I mean, we traded,
No.
we wanted that.
And that's
Sure.
around where they picked him, isn't it? Then they pick him
Yeah.
at like 20 years.
Yeah, 20 something. Yeah, we'll see what. Yeah, I would say third. That's me
I'm
because
the
I have
highest on him,
trust
I think.
issue. Yeah.
And
So
for me,
second-
the other thing is, if I'm doing it, I'm trying to do it ahead of the draft, because then I'm probably not taking Omar Cooper Jr. at 24.
That's true.
I'm probably saying, we just got our top receiver. Now I'm looking at something else at that position. So
Yeah.
if I'd already picked Omar Cooper Jr., I'm probably off the table at that point.
That's true. That's true because you're getting Brian. Yeah, you could get control of his contract for
I'm
2
not gonna
years.
give
That
him
would
that.
be
I need to build a team here. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hit this other one up. I want some corned beef.
JJ McCarthy trade buzz. This is from Fansided. I posted this today, and I did not think it would get this much reaction. Is it possible, or is it just no news story? So basically, the story from Fansided is that it's ridiculous that we would get JJ McCarthy and we would give up Dylan Gabriel and a conditional. I don't know what they mean by conditional first round pick.
A condition.
Which, by the way, like, nobody does that. Is a basketball term. Nobody
That's a
does that.
basketball term.
So
Yeah.
the two things I laughed at before we even go into this, like, scenario, would you, wouldn't you? The two things that made me laugh about this is they said a conditional pick, and I'm like, pretty rare to hear an NFL conditional pick.
Yeah, it's so
First
weird.
rounder, especially a conditional first
Yeah.
rounder, like maybe later
Didn't we
in the
do an
draft.
conditional pick with Amari Cooper?
Was that like a 5th rounder, 6th rounder though?
I think it was a conditional pick for Amari,
But
wasn't
you
it?
get like conditional, like, oh, we'll give you a 5th rounder, and if he makes the Pro Bowl, we'll throw in next year's 6th.
Yeah.
Like that's the condition. But like, you're not going to be like, we'll give you a first rounder unless he, that's too big of money to have like probably conditions on it. But the other thing is like, the article opened with the Browns have a crowded quarterback room with Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, and Watson, and so this would help clear that up because they moved Gabriel in the trade. I'm like, but then you bring in
Bring in another
McCarthy and
quarterback.
now you have another person who's going to be competing for the first round reps, which Dylan Gabriel probably isn't. You just made it more crowded of a room,
Yeah.
and you made it more difficult to make a decision. Like,
Can you imagine bringing Carnell
The
Tate here
phrasing
with
was
that
so funny.
dude?
Oh,
Michigan,
Michigan.
Ohio State.
I didn't like him coming out in Michigan. I'm surprised he got drafted in the top 10.
didn't either.
And if you
And
can't,
honestly,
if you could not
chance
work
for me.
in Minnesota, where he seems to be O'Donnell seems to be a quarterback guy, you just
Yeah.
can't work.
Now this was his first year. He had to redshirt because of the injury, and he was coming off a major like surgery where he was just ready to play come like training camp. So it was almost like we saw our rookie struggle. Imagine if they didn't get to practice or they were coming off a major surgery going into this year. The difference is he was a first rounder. I would have never taken him there. I did think the Browns, I did suggest last year's offseason before I saw him play, the Browns should try to spit like a second rounder to them, and then they should just re-sign Sam Darnold. So like I was more on board last year. Now that I saw him play, I'm like, he was kind of what I thought he was coming out of college. I actually elevated him because I was like, I feel like the Vikings seem to like have a good feel for how to use a
How to do it.
quarterback.
Yep.
So they raised my expectation of him. And then when he played, I was like, nope, back down to what
Yep.
I thought he was. He's just a kind of like field managing quarterback who can't make big plays.
And
Yeah,
I'm out.
not signing Darnold's what got that GM fired. So you would have kept your job.
And the
signed Darnold
connection
for
is
long
that
term.
GM that liked him though was the assistant GM here and
Yeah.
probably talks to Pierre all the time. It's like, oh, I got fired. I picked JJ McCarthy, but like he was just hurt. He could be better. I know he can be better. Like, and maybe Barry feels the same as Oyafusi or whatever. No, what's the name?
No,
Kwesi?
that's it. Yeah.
Kwesi, Adolfo
Kwesi.
Mensa.
Yep.
And so like I get the connection for fan-sided, but I 100% on the way you phrased it. This feels like we just really need some make-believe trade scenarios to talk about. So
It's funny. It's funny stuff out there. So make sure you read it carefully before you think it's true.
he has
because
Mac
then-
Jones vibes to me, where like in
Yeah.
a couple years he could look better than he did. He was overdrafted and he could look better, but even still, it's not Sam Darnold vibes where you're like, oh, he now looks like the top pick that he was. I think he could more look like in a couple years a quarterback, but not like blowing me away. It's hard to admit.
Mike definitely wants him because he's from Michigan. Mike's a Michigan fan.
That is fake news. That is the fakest news ever reported on this show.
Look at the shirt he's
Yeah.
wearing. He's wearing Michigan
Yeah,
colors.
He's wearing blue.
You know what? My daughter's in the Navy now, and I hate wearing that hoodie. But it's
I
so
hate wearing it
comfortable, but
'cause
it's blue and yellow.
Blue and yellow.
Man. Maize and
Amazing
blue, whatever.
blue. Yeah, whatever they call that stupid crap.
Corn
All
and
right.
blue.
Corn and blue.
That's what I always call it.
All right, guys. We are out of notes. So that means we are out of
And
here.
we're
So
way out of time.
way out of time.
Yeah.
We're way above time. But this is a reminder. We are having a draft party. We're pairing up with West Park Browns backers and PJ McIntyre, 7 p.m. to probably when the last pick is picked, probably around 11 o'clock. 4:23, 7 a.m. Come out. Mike, Sam, me, Gary, and Logan will be out there doing some draft stuff. We'll be in the crowd getting interviews, getting stuff for reels and content, and we will be covering the draft, hopefully pick by pick. Sam has his Bible of paper, literal paper Bible of draft notes that he's been working on. So he's going to be our Mel Kiper. I had him on
Handwritten.
handwritten. I had him on my show on Friday, and he's like, let me look this guy up. And he's like flipping pages, and I'm just sitting there cracking up laughing. I'm like, dude, get a PDF, man.
Sam's
But,
old school.
Yeah, but he will be
I think
there.
it's so funny that he does everything on paper.
Yeah. He will be there. It's going to be a fun night. Come and just drink. You probably come on stage and talk with us and give us your draft takes or whatnot. So
There
we'll hope
might be a special somebody coming. I am
yes,
waiting
we
on.
are holding on to that news. That would be huge if that
Yeah.
happens. You guys can watch Sam get mad when we get Ty Simpson with the pick 24 if that happens. But come on, it's going to be a fun night. So hope to see you there. PJ McIntyre 423, April 23rd, 7 p.m. Man, it's going to be fun.
17119 Lorraine Road, Cleveland, Ohio. See, that's the only time that my voice is good is when I'm sick. Sound like I actually belong on the radio.
All of a sudden, he's got that tone.
Yes. Quick clips. Thanks for the love. Everyone on YouTube, thanks for the love. The new Wrights, Rose on YouTube, thanks for the love. And our typical Facebook followers, KP, Sam, James, Dan, thanks for everybody tuning in the chat. We will be live this Saturday, 10 a.m. Browns Morning Brew. So tune in for that. I'm sure they got some good stuff brewing up over there. And then I will not be here Tuesday. Someone probably will fill in for me. My son, I'm going to try to say this without crying, is going to turn 1 year old on Monday. So we are having a birthday extravaganza this weekend. And for some reason, I don't know how this worked out, Mike and Chad. My wife convinced me to go to Columbus for my 1 year old son's first birthday.
What are you bringing him down there for his first?
I don't know how that translates because I'm still trying to figure out.
I love Columbus.
I love Columbus.
I only
too.
lived in Columbus for 1 year. I absolutely adore Columbus, but I don't know what you do there with a 1 year old. Are you guys going to celebrate yourselves?
No, we're gonna go. We're taking the kids.
Let's be honest. The kid didn't do anything special in his first year. You guys did.
Exactly.
Something probably really
We're
special.
taking the kids with us. We're taking the kids. We're gonna go to Hiking Hills for a day. Going to do. Hopefully, if the weather holds up, we're gonna do
Hiking
some
Hills nice.
walking. So I won't be here. I'll be enjoying some time with my 1 year old son. Have a birthday this Saturday and Sunday. We will be heading down here. So you guys have fun. I'll probably tune in and watch. But you guys tune in this Tuesday, 7:30, same time, same platform. He is crawling fast, and he's starting to learn he's kind of kicking his legs up to try to walk as he crawls. And he says, "Hi, Dad," in the cutest voice, especially when he's napping and he wakes up and sees me there. "Hi, Dad." So it's really cool to see.
And he's already a Browns fan.
Like I sit there and, I mean, I do content stuff. So I sit there and watch him in the crib and, instead of leaving, I just watch my son sleep. It's weird. I know, but
that's crazy. 1 year.
You'll never regret the memories.
Yes. 1 year, Mike. 1 year ago.
Arlo's going to be 1. And 3 years ago, almost, we started all this.
Yes. I went into this.
It's going to be 6 in October. Oh, to those that don't know, I only have dogs.
Yeah, no, dogs are just as good.
Not the same. It's definitely
not the same. But I have 2 dogs that I dearly love, and before we had kids, the oldest one I have, I
love
treated
them.
as
They're
my
just
son.
so much easier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Chad meant he's 6 beers in.
All of my sisters have a bunch of kids. I have a ton of nieces and nephews, and I'm like, oh no, guys, I'm very well aware of the difference between parenting and dog parenting. Very different.
But thanks guys for tuning in. Appreciate the love. Until next time, like always.
Go Browns.
2 hour show. Let's go.